Hello everybody and welcome to our coverage of the third Women's T20 International between England and New Zealand. Hope everyone is doing well. This is going to be a cracking game here at Canterbury, the Spitfire ground. Lovely atmosphere here. We're expecting about 4,000 plus people. England's men are doing really well at the moment at Lord's, also in Germany right now. But England's women are doing well absolutely everywhere, unbeaten this summer so far. A flawless series against Pakistan. They're flawless currently against New Zealand as well. They're 2-0 up in this series after a rain-affected win at Hove a couple of days ago. New Zealand yet to get a win on this tour. The toss has already taken place, which England won. They put New Zealand in to bat. That action will start in a little under 15 minutes or so. Right now, my name is Atif Nawaz. Very pleased to be joined by former England World Cup winner Alex Hartley and New Zealand international Frankie Mackay. A very good evening to you, ladies. Welcome to the show. And it's a lovely atmosphere, isn't it? It's actually quite nice. Big crowd. Not as overcast as it was a couple of nights ago in Hove. Alex, I'm sure you'll be pleased to see.
It couldn't have got worse than the other night, could it? Because, my word, it just hammered it down all evening. England and New Zealand were actually pretty lucky to get that 9-over game in. Yes, it was rain-affected towards the end, but we got the bulk of it in. And, today we've had no rain, we've had blue skies, and Frankie, you've enjoyed the sunshine.
Oh, it's really perked me up. I thought I was going to come to this game. After the last game, I said I'm going to come with a more negative attitude. I'm going to go both barrels at New Zealand and how poor they've been, and maybe that reverse psychology would get them a win today. But I can't be negative about it because I've got a little bit of sun, the shoulders are nice and pink, I'm feeling good about it. This is a beautiful ground here, really cool crowd, and it actually reminds me a bit of home. Just the nice relaxed feel to it, the crowd is nice and close as well, and I just think we're in for a cracking game tonight.
Yeah, it's nice vibes here at Canterbury. It's kind of New Zealand-esque, I'm going to say. It's not quite like Eden Park, but almost. Like, it's as close as we're going to get on these aisles. I'll give you guys something to discuss, right? So the big news so far in terms of teams, England have made a couple of changes, but the big change is no Heather Knight today. She's being rested due to the amount of cricket that's coming up, so she won't be captain. It's going to be Nat Sciver-Brunt who's going to captain the team today. We're told that's an opportunity to help the team practice the potential scenario of if Heather is unavailable in the future, particularly with the big World Cup coming up in Bangladesh later this year. England, I think it's fair for them to start experimenting at this point a little bit, Alex?
Yeah, I think they've been experimenting throughout this whole series. They had that whitewash series against Pakistan earlier on in the summer, and then here against New Zealand, as Frankie just alluded to, New Zealand have been poor throughout. So actually England have that freedom to be able to go out, have that freedom to be able to experiment with a few things. And if Heather, feels like she needs a rest and England need to prepare for life without her moving forward in case she picks up an injury, then now's the perfect time to do it. And now's the perfect time for Nat Sciver-Brunt to step in and be captain.
You mentioned that New Zealand have been poor. Like Frankie, just a few weeks ago, we were chatting away in a studio in the middle of the night, right, about this series and what the opportunity was for New Zealand here, the important practice, not just ahead of this year's World Cup, but next year's World Cup. You were feeling very positive about their chances on this tour. You even singled out a bunch of players. I remember you specifically talking about Melia Kerr, Izzy Gaze, like players who are going to, fly the flag for New Zealand going forward. Where has it gone wrong for them so far on this tour? 5 matches in, nothing to show for it.
A lot has gone wrong. How long have we got to discuss the failings so far? I mean, the biggest thing it's come down to is the fact they just haven't been able to put runs on the board. So they've never been able to put this English side under any sort of scoring pressure. Even then, when they've had the opportunity to go out and chase totals, they haven't fired. No one in that top order has fired at all. I definitely picked out Melia Kerr as a player to watch, and I still think she is a fabulous player, but the T20 format, especially with bat, is maybe not her natural format as such, so it means that some of the hitters around her have actually got to take a little bit of pressure off. We saw Sophie Devine in the 9-over game come up to the top of the order. I love seeing that. We're not going to see it again today. She's gone back down to 4. Georgia Plimmer will come back up to the top, but it's the batting that has put a lot of pressure on the rest of the side. But I'm also going to say the fielding at times has been really poor. In the last game, Georgia Plimmer, unfortunately, you just can't drop in that Sciver-Brunt. You can't be putting down catches where you get 2 hands to them. Different if it's full-length dive, one-handed, going to be something special and you put it down. But there's been a couple of regulation ones go down. The bowling at times has looked toothless, and in particular the spinners have been really poor for New Zealand compared to the way England have bowled. The spinners have dominated for them. New Zealand haven't been able to find a line or a length to save themselves. So I like the fact we've got Lee Casbrick back in the side. I think she adds a little bit of something different different. She's worked really hard on her game after being left out. It's been a year in between international appearances. So like having her back, and I'd expect on a ground like this that she'll really come into her own.
Yeah, Leah Tahuhu and Jessica are sitting out today. Molly Penfold and Fran Jonas also featuring today. What can we expect to see from them?
Well, Molly Penfold bowls rapid. She hits the bat really hard. She's got a great bouncer. She's also got a good Yorker as well. But the biggest thing probably for her at the moment in her career is the radar's not always there, so it's just allowing her that freedom to run in and bowl quick, because she's going to bowl a bad ball anyway, so it's the allowance to just run in and try and take the opposition on. And Fran Jonas, she's known for being economical, she's known for being able to put the ball on the spot. We haven't really seen that so far this competition, so I think we need to see Fran Jonas get back to her best. Then she can control the run rate, and you allow the other bowlers, your strike bowlers, your Hannah Rose, your Sophie Devines, your Molly Penfold, run in, swing the ball, bowl sharply, bowl your bumpers, and really take this English lineup on.
I'm looking forward to seeing Molly Penfold on this surface, because we know that there's a slope here at Canterbury, and hopefully she can utilise that and get the ball to nip around. It looks very green out there. They've kept a little bit of grass on, so hopefully it will do a little bit. We've got overcast conditions, and I would love to see Molly Penfold, as I say, use that slope. It's a little bit like Lords, isn't it? If you can get the ball nipping away and get one to nip back, you're always going to be dangerous.
Yeah, most certainly is a very pronounced slope here, and it is going to be England, they won the toss, they put New Zealand into bat. Their changes as well, Alex, very interesting. We've got Sophia Dunkley back in the side for the first time since March, which I believe was also against New Zealand in that series over in New Zealand. And then you've also got Freya Kemp and Lauren Filer getting a shot in this series. It is the competition for places in that England side is stiff right now.
It is, it's really stiff, but that's what you want, especially leading into a World Cup. I think the 15 people that we've got here, you would expect those 15 to go to the World Cup in Bangladesh. So now England, they have to experiment. They have to try and find what works for them, what doesn't. I'm surprised that Dunkley has come back into the lineup, to be completely honest, because Danny White and Maya Bouchier are going so well at the top of the order for England. They've been dominant throughout the ODI series, throughout the T20s so far. But I guess 2-0 up with 3 games to play, you have that freedom to be able to give somebody like Dunkley a go. And yes, she's been in and out of form. She's not had the best of run in the last 18 months, and maybe she went away, got some runs for the Stars, for her county, or whatever region, whatever you call them. I don't even know.
Yeah,
can't wait
team,
for it to go back to counties. And she went away and proved that she was still good enough, proved that she could score mountains of runs at regional cricket. So, she deserves this opportunity back in the side.
Yeah, no, England in a very, very strong position in this series, as we say. Let's talk about some of the strong performances that we've seen. I mean, Danny Wyatt at the top, that first game. The 70, it was just rapid from England. At one point, it looked like they were comfortably going to cross 200. They didn't in the end. New Zealand sort of clawed them back a little bit. But, this is a really scintillating-looking England team. It's box office.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's impressed me throughout the ODI series and the T20 series is the fact that when somebody fails, somebody else steps up. And I think that's been something that hasn't necessarily happened in the past with this England side. I think sometimes you lose a couple of quick wickets and then you... sorry, I'm just waving at one of my friends over there. He's put me right off.
Yeah, we're in a very strange vantage point as well, because we're sort of directly behind the bowlers. We're technically in the pavilion, actually, today, and there's a stand which isn't being used because there's some scaffolding in front of it right to our left-hand side, but there are some people sitting in there with sun hats and things like that on.
Simon, the Hawkeye boy, just finishing up the cameras, I guess, up there. What was I saying?
You were talking about many things.
Oh, in the you weren't even listening to me.
Well, of course I was.
In the past, when England have lost a couple of quick wickets, they've actually collapsed and then found themselves in a little bit of trouble. But actually, throughout this series, someone else has stepped up and they've taken over and almost steadied the ship. What
do you think? Would you sort of attribute that to? Is it that fear of if I don't put in my best performance, there's another person just as good waiting to take my place? Is it comfort of knowing that I'm going to get a little bit of a long stay? Is it something in between? What's going on?
I think what we've found is that England have been told to go out there and play with freedom, to go out and not worry about getting out, being fearless. And we can almost see it with New Zealand, who are trying to implement that. They're trying to be a little bit more aggressive, but it takes time. So England, yes, they can go out, they can be fearless, they can take the game on, but they are going to, every now and then, they're going to lose wickets, they're going to collapse. And I think now they've started to find their method that works for them. I think now for New Zealand, it's time for them to try and find out what method works for them. Because I would love... New Zealand have the capability to chase down 160, 170, but they're almost a little bit too tentative for me.
Well, they've got to put on a total here today, Frankie. I mean, what do they have to do to get themselves in? Because it's a tough ask for any team, really, when you're sort of 2-0 down. You've already lost the series, 3-0. But there's still 3 games to go. So theoretically, you come back, you win those 3 games, you finish on top. What do they have to do to turn this tide around?
Well, I think it is around that blueprint. I think if you turn up and you play your best form of cricket and you play the style of cricket that you want to and you still lose, you actually go home, that's okay. I think the manner in which New Zealand is playing at the moment, that's the frustrating thing, is it feels like we keep saying the same thing and we have that feeling of, oh, not again. And so it is that ability, it starts with your top order, to be able to go out and show some ownership, to take the game on, and take the game on in a smart way. It's actually not playing ridiculous high-risk options early to try and get your boundaries. It's intelligent cricket to go with it.
We saw that a few of the New Zealand girls got out reverse sweeping against England the other day. Do you think they're doing that, I guess, not only because they're practicing in the nets, obviously, but they're seeing England do it consistently and getting the reward, and they're going, well, we can do that?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of it, and I think it's one of those things that they will have talked a lot about dealing with the fear and the nervousness of making mistakes. And so you've got these new shots that you've been working on the nets, and I think there's a lot of discussion about New Zealand and the way they play as their power options are all leg side, and so it becomes very easy to bowl to. So they've gone away and worked really hard on the reverse and being able to play through the offside, and so wanting to show those skills off. But again, to me, it's just the smart option taking, the intelligent cricket. Is a reverse sweep the first ball of someone's spell when it's drizzling a little bit? Is that your best option? Probably not. No, it's probably not putting things in your favour. If you're a Brooke Halliday and they're bowling with cover up inside the circle, that's your favourite shot. Play that until they put someone out there and that boundary option's gone. So I'd just like them to see them be a little bit more intelligent with how they take the game on, but taking the game on is the big thing.
And do you think there's an element of staying somewhat relaxed? Because I watched the team practicing a little bit earlier on, the New Zealand team, playing their football. They seemed like they were still, despite the scenario they're in good spirits. There's a good sort of team atmosphere there. It's important to stay it's difficult, I imagine, immensely, but it's important to keep that positive mentality of, we're not done yet. We've got a very good chance of turning things around.
Yeah, and sometimes there's a little bit of fake it till you make it. If you're turning up to cricket not feeling that positive about things, it's amazing what slapping a bit of a smile on your face, having a laugh with your mates around you, and just recognising that what a special time it is, what a privilege it is to play for your country, and to do it with some of your best mates is a pretty cool feeling. So there'll be a little bit of that for some people, and then for some others, they're just naturally those kind of people. They are up and about, they love what they do, they love the fact they get to call playing cricket their job, and they are a team that gets on really well. They're a team that has each other's back and look after each other really well. So that won't change at all, and a win will do them the world of good.
The fire shooters are going up here at Canterbury as the umpires are making their way out to the middle, followed by the England team, who are also in terrific spirits. And they got great cheers as well as they came on. This England team is building a fan base, Alex. We've seen them sort of all over the country. People come out to watch them, and it's like it's a very diverse crowd.
Yeah, I love it. I think, the 100 has changed women's cricket, hasn't it, here in England, in the UK. I've been to many games here in Canterbury where there's been 30, 40 people watching. We've not had international cricket here for the last couple of years, and it is packed tonight, and I love to see it.
Well, I'm going to leave you guys to it for the first few overs. I think it's going to be yourself, Alex, on there. But just before you and I take our leave, Frankie, what do you expect to see in this power play? What would you like to see from New Zealand in the first 6 overs of this innings having been put into bat? Slope in play here at Canterbury?
60 for none after 6. I'd love to see it. You ask me what I want, that is what I would love to see.
Well, there you go.
I think as long as they're no more than 2 down through that first 6, then, and ideally somewhere in the vicinity of 50 runs on the board, that is a good power play that sets the game up. But yeah, I just want to see smart cricket, take the game on, show off your skills, show what you got to this passionate crowd here.
And the flip side of that, Alex, tell us that. And then Daniel Norcross is going to begin proceedings on commentary alongside yourself.
Well, I want the complete opposite to Frankie, obviously. Impartial / not impartial. I'd love to see New Zealand get skittled for 60 and we can all go home early. That's probably not going to happen, but it would be quite nice, wouldn't it?
I'm looking forward to this one. I'm slightly surprised that England didn't bat first.
I'm not, because
you want to win the series, get it done.
Yeah, and I also think you've got to try everything. You've got to look forward to that World Cup. We've seen them play 4 spinners. We've seen them bat first. How are they going to be in a run chase? So I'm looking forward to seeing how they go.
Well, I am. I'm very much looking forward to that. Are you off?
Yeah, well, because New Zealand are batting, we're going to let Frankie
Oh.
Get
talk about
excited
the better.
about-
Just before you go, I'm just going to say I loved your choice of lunch, which was prawn and mayonnaise sandwiches with prawn-flavoured skips.
And then I went for a cheese jacket potato downstairs.
Cheese jacket potato, and you got some chicken bites.
Yeah,
in a
health
bag.
is wealth, you know.
They look really good.
You're sarcastic. So.
Here we go. First ball. Lauren Filer in. First ball is driven back past her down the ground. It's going to run away for 4. It's a terrific start for New Zealand. It was full, on about sort of middle and leg, and really well put away. That is a very fine shot. First up. And exactly what Frankie Mackay wants to see. Susie Bates taking the fight to England from the very first ball. Slightly floated up, but it was actually a bit outside off stump. Lauren Filer fell over in her follow-through and had to avoid being hit by the ball as it was hit back past her. But what a great start.
That's a fantastic start, and that's always a really good sign for Susie Bates when she's able to hit the ball down the ground, when she's able to access back through that straight mid-on area. That's when the balance is good.
Here comes Filer once again. That's just played around the front pad up to mid-on, and there's no run. I imagine that you won't have seen this programme. And actually, because we're online, I'm not sure who's listening to us, but if anybody is, it's been bothering me who Lauren Filer reminds me of, because she's got this very idiosyncratic sort of load-up and general action as she starts. These wonderfully rising elbows, and she's into a stride outside the off-stump through to the keeper, swinging them with a sort of cut and a miss. And she reminds me slightly of a 1970s comedy character from a programme called On the Buses, called Blakey, which isn't the most flattering thing, I appreciate, but there's something really marvellous about her gait. Now, with those 4 runs, Susie Bates has become the 3rd woman to amass 10,000 international runs without ever playing a test match. Filer in again. She goes after it again, drives up to mid-on. This time it rebounds a fielder at mid-on. And they'll get through for, well, a single in the end, which for a while wasn't happening. But they've got it. 5 without loss.
Yeah, so getting to 10,000 becomes the first person to do it without a test match being played in there as well. So 10,000 white ball only runs.
She's actually only 274 away from Charlotte Edwards and 869 behind Mitali Raj, who's top of the pile with that average of 46.64 at a strike rate of about 46.64, I would guess. As Filer is in. Short. Oh, it's up in the air. Should be taken at mid-on, and it is. Plymouth off a very first ball went for a shot that I'm going to try to describe for you, but it's unclear what it was. It was a sort of an attempted pull, I think. The ball came onto her too quickly, and it ballooned to mid-off in the most gentle parabola, and easy as you like. England have taken the first wicket.
Too much pace, too much bounce from Lauren Filer. That's what that is. That is just genuine pace. Has hurried Plymouth up. Hits the bat hard right up on the splice before she's able to get her hands through it, and all she can do is lob it into the offside for a simple catch for Nat Sivabrunt. And that's what pace does. That's the X factor of Lauren Filer, the ability to hurry good players up, pick up wickets through sheer pace and bounce, and that is a cracking start for Filer. That's exactly what you want to see from your big quick.
The catch was easily pouched by Nat Sivabrunt, the captain today, because Heather Knight is resting. And after that really bright start, first ball going for 4, and the 5th ball has taken the wicket. And the wicket of Georgia Plymouth, who, when she gets going, can be a delight to watch, but she hasn't got going today, out for a first baller. We've all been there. Do you remember your first baller?
First ball of the game.
My
first baller.
Mine too.
May I have centre, please, sir? Mark, smacked on the toe. Done.
Yeah. It's horrible, isn't it?
Awful. At least this is
How
only
old were you?
T20. I was 15.
Oh, you did well to make it at 15. I think I was 12 when I had my first baller. First ball of the match, caught outside the off stump, going for a wild cut to the first ball. Filer in again, short, and this time it's Amelia Kerr who goes for the pull, and it balloons off her bat and not far away from Freya Kemp at short mid-wicket. And again, the pace of Filer troubling the batters at the end of the first over. New Zealand 5 for 1. The woman to go, Georgia Plymouth, for a first ball duck. Yeah, it was in the game against the Teachers.
Oh.
Yeah, imagine how sickening that was. He's bowled me a wide manky ball. I thought, I'm going, 'cause I never liked that teacher anyway. Going after him.
Do you think the feeling was
Thin edge.
mutual?
Yeah, certainly, yeah.
So he still tells the story as
Oh,
well,
I
doesn't
bet.
he?
Yeah, he's still with us, yeah.
It's a tough one. It's tough to take.
I cried that night.
Oh.
I'm not embarrassed to say so. I went home and I cried myself to sleep.
If you haven't cried at cricket or about cricket, you can't call yourself a cricketer.
I agree.
It's
a deeply disturbing game, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be. It can be.
Freya Kemp is going to bowl the first ball from the pavilion end in this match. Left arm over the wicket into Bates, who comes forward and plays and misses at one just outside the off stump. Just went on with the arm and through to the keeper Jones. And there's no run.
It's maybe stayed down a touch, that one.
It did, didn't it? Yeah. A bit low through to Amy Jones. Interesting to note that Simmerbrunt's style of captaincy here. We've got no slip in place. Heather Knight kept a slip in, didn't she, quite early on? But Bates often tries to access the leg side. She comes down the wicket to a second ball. It goes for a pull. Gets perhaps nothing on it. It goes through to Amy Jones, diving away to her left, who then throws down the stumps, but Bates was home. And after all that, I haven't seen an umpire signal of a wide there, so there must have been a little bit of something on that.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of pad. Maybe just off the... Maybe thigh pad off the hip.
Well, we're not going to take another look at that one. We're taking a look at Mealy Kerr's first ball, which was short and banged in and nearly produced the same result as Georgia Plimmer's first ball. As Freya Kemp runs away from us, tall left armour in outside the off stump, driven back past her for 4. Very similar to the first ball of the match. Floated up, and Susie Bates smacked it along the ground past the diving mid-on and up to the boundary for 4. Another beautiful looking shot.
I think that's a good way to describe it. Floated. Just looking to pitch the ball up, trying to see if there is any swing, trying to bend the ball back into Susie Bates' front pad, but that is an excellent piece of batting. Gets across to off stump and back through the legs of Freya Kemp.
There were players on the ground all over the place there. There was Freya Kemp on the ground. There was Maya Boucher on the ground. It was like a scene from the end of a Peckinpah movie. As Kemp is in again. This is full, defended up to mid-off, where Nat Simmerbrunt does the fielding. There's no run. 9 for 1 the score after 9 balls. Just want to see England stretched here. And for that to happen, you fancy it's going to have to happen. We've said it many times in this series. Between New Zealand and England, it's going to have to happen between Bates, Kerr and Devine, you fancy. It doesn't have to. There's other batting. But the strong odds are it's in that top order. As Kemp's in once more. Down the wicket comes Bates, flicks into the onside, but can't get it past Alice Capsey at mid-wicket. And there is no run. The lights are now on. There's a decent crowd in today. And there's also a fish and chip van that is lurking inside an old London bus, which I like. I could hack that.
Yeah, I've got a lot of time for that.
Yeah, I'm sure Alex could go and get some scampi to go with her prawn and mayonnaise sandwiches and her skips. Reminds me, there's a great sitcom in the 70s where a guy has a terrible midlife crisis and Freya Kemp is in. Oh, full toss and whacked up and over mid-on. It wasn't perfectly timed, perhaps near the bottom of the bat. It was elevated to the left of mid-wicket and the right of mid-on, and it's rolled up to the boundary sponge for 4. She could have holed out there, but she got lucky. She got enough elevation on it. It missed the 2 fielders, and New Zealand finished the over on 13 for 1, 2 boundaries from it. Yeah, and the main character, Reggie Perrin, is having this midlife crisis, and it manifests itself in the first episode when he goes into an Italian restaurant. And waiter says, what would you like for your starter, sir? He goes, ravioli. What would you like for your main course, sir? Ravioli. And for dessert? Ravioli. And Hartley is very much prawn, and prawn. She loves prawns. There's nothing wrong with loving prawns, whether they're slathered in mayonnaise or an approximation of something that has never seen a prawn in aerated, crisp format. It's not really crisp, is it? Skips. They're sort of little floated butterflies of polystyrene.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Is that roughly right?
Yeah, just slightly tastier.
Yeah, tastier than polystyrene. Viola is in. This is flicked into the onside, a full ball, and the leg stump by Kerr. She just picks out mid-wicket. Kemp, who does the fielding. I rather like them. I mean, other mass-produced snacks inside a cellophane bag are available, as we have to say.
I'm not upset with any of them, to be fair.
No. I can gorge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love a snack.
Do you?
Yeah. Gosh, yeah.
Filer in. It's driven nicely through point by Mealy Kerr. It's going to run away to the boundary. The fielder's in vain pursuit. Alice Capsey leading the charge. But it's 4 through backward. Well, point actually. About as square as you can get. It's a lovely shot from Mealy Kerr. We've seen 3 super boundaries today already. 16 for 1.
Yeah, beautiful square drive from Mealy Kerr. A little hold the pose at the end of it as well. And so far, English side just getting put to the sword when they're pitching the ball up. And they're looking to get some movement. They've been able to offer up some deliveries to be struck by the New Zealand players.
Filer in, shorter, as you might expect, when a fast bowler has been driven, and that's left alone with certain insouciance by Kerr. Goes through to the keeper. And a slip is now in place. Interesting. I wonder if... Is this a far-fetched notion? Because thinking back to the game at Hove, we didn't see a great deal of New Zealand's batting because of the rain. But slip was in, I think, for Plymouth, but not for Bates. I wonder if... Is there a sort of sense that this Filer is in again? Kerr drives nicely, but it's really well stopped at backward point by Charlie Dean. Probably saved... Well, there's a fielder out at deep third, but that was whistling off the bat. She might well have saved 3 there. They did get through for the single. I just wonder with Bates, is Eccleston going to go back in there? Because she likes to access the leg side, is there a sort of sense that, she's not actually going to be offering you the outside edge? Well, she's staying in at the moment.
Yeah, and perhaps just a slightly different plan to Susie Bates as well, looking to attack the stumps a little bit more.
Filer into Bates, who has a big wind-up and gets this past mid-wicket into the right of mid-on. They'll scamper through for a single. It's tidied up by the mighty Boucher, Maya Bouchier. 19 for 1 ball left in the third over.
Yeah, when you're looking at the rest of the New Zealand top order, they're generally players who like to stay quite leg side of the ball, like to have width to free their arms up, like to be able to run the ball through a third and a backward point, whereas a Susie Bates is more likely to get right across to the offside and try and access leg side.
Well, Silverbrunt has removed the slip. She's seen enough of Kerr's driving today, as this is a floated delivery on off stump, which is driven, probably a slower ball, driven to Dean at point, and there is no run. 19 for 1. 6 off that over, 5 off the first. So Filer 1 for 11 off her 2. Bates has 14. Mealy Kerr has 5. We've seen some gorgeous shots, and we're seeing a really good crowd coming in here to the Spitfire County Ground at Canterbury. It's a funny old ground because you don't, at the far end, the Nackington Road end, there's not a lot of seating behind the bowler's arm, is there? So your plum areas are near the Alex Hartley Memorial Scampi Bar, away to our right. And I suppose to our right here as well, we've got Frank Woolley stand, I think, named after the incredibly prolific Kent batting all-rounder of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Charlie Dean is into the attack. Her first ball has worked nicely around that front pad by Bates out towards deep mid-wicket. For just a single, as the distinctive figure of Sophia Dunkley comes in off the boundary with their own idiosyncratic gait and a jaunty headgear. I like players who do that for me. I like players who who wear orange trainers as well, like Will Jacks.
Easy to pick out.
Easy to pick out,
Yep.
So do you remember when people used to get annoyed that they put numbers on the backs of their shirts? Can you believe that? How was that annoying?
Well, it clearly annoys some people, doesn't it?
It's about how. Deed in, tossed up. The big Yahoo, a swing and a miss onto the pads of Kerr. It rolls into the onside. There's no run.
Yeah, I've never quite been able to fathom it myself, but...
Is it because people want to sort of keep the information to themselves? They don't want, people turning up and knowing what's going on. That would be crazy. As Dean is in again, tossed up again. Flicked this time straight to mid-wicket. The throw comes in from Gibson. There's no run.
That could be it. A little bit of gatekeeping your knowledge. If you're someone who's been at every single game and you've learned who players are based on how they move and run. Numbers give it away.
Here's Dean, right arm over. It's driven back at her. I think it was a bump ball. It went through her hands. I don't think that was a chance. Might need to see it again, though, to confirm. But there is no run as it rolls up to Silverbrunt at mid-off.
Been a very good start, though, from Charlie Dean yet again. No wickets as of yet, but very, very tidy start. Looking to attack the stumps. Bowled a good pace straight away, right on the money.
She's in once more, and Kerr swings this away out towards deep square leg. There's two fielders out there, but neither of them can get there. Dunkley was one of them. Diving Kemp was the other. And Kemp got the hand on it, then diverted it past Dunkley, who was running from mid-wicket. I'm not sure Dunkley would have got there. Had she done so, it probably resulted in the two fielders colliding. It's a really good shot, well-timed, great connection. And I think, actually, in fairness to Kemp, I think he might have been trying to parry it towards Dunkley, but it just got the better of her and was diverted over the boundary. 24 for 1. Dean in again. Again, she picks out Gibson at mid-wicket. Fields really well. Goes straight to her, and then she fires a throw in at the bowler's end, but Bates was home. No run off the last ball. 5 off the over. 24 for 1 from 4. Decent start from New Zealand. Not express, but going in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And more intelligent option taking we've definitely seen so far today. The fact that when a half volley's been bowled, a fuller delivery's been bowled, it's been hit down the ground. Millie Kerr got width, was able to pierce the gap through the point region, and then getting onto the favoured sweep straight away when Charlie Dean's come into the attack. So for mine, it hasn't been a flying start by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a little bit of a platform that's been set, which I think is what this New Zealand side has been crying out for, really.
Now, Danielle Gibson's going to get a bowl. We didn't see her bowl, did we, at Hove when she played in the last game? That already 6.5 overs bowled, so wasn't a lot of opportunity. But she'll bowl medium pace, coming in from the Nackington Road end. Driving is Bates up towards mid-on, along the ground, giving herself room outside leg stump this time, and there's no run. Often you'll see Bates move across outside her off stump when you're trying to access the leg side, which is relatively sparsely populated. We've got 2 in the ring on the leg side, deep square and a long leg. Short third, point, cover, extra cover, mid-off, that mid-on and mid-wicket. Making up the numbers as Gibson's in again. Goes after the drive once more, Bates, but only picks out mid-off. That Silverbrunt does the fielding. There's no run once more.
You feel that this might be a little bit of a target over, and I actually like it both sides here. I like the fact that Nat Silverbrunt at this stage has gone to a Danny Gibson to try and maybe put a little bit of pressure on. Are they prepared to go a little bit earlier maybe than they would have liked? But also, can New Zealand try and pick up a big over here in the power play?
Gibson in. She's gone for the big old swing to the onside this time. Bates and only finds Kemp at mid-wicket. There's no run. You sort of feel that they've got to target. It's almost like, yeah, the carrot is being dangled here.
I like it. I like it from both sides, really. It's a brave move from Silverbrunt. It also puts a little bit of pressure on Danny Gibson as well. A welcome to the series. Here's your first bowl. It's in the power play to 2 batters who have faced 15 and 11 balls each. You've got to settle in well and do a good job.
Interestingly, long leg has come up inside the ring, so wouldn't be that surprised if Bates looks to scoop up an over fine leg here with a deep mid-wicket out and a deep square leg. As Gibson is in, and now she comes down the wicket, nearly bowled by a ball that was a whisker away from the stumps, came hurtling at that. So it's been a fascinating over, and yet we had 4 dot balls in it. There's an awful lot going on.
There's a lot going on, and that is shaved off stump. That delivery has really come back from Danny Gibson. It's been a cracking start from her, 4 dot balls, and Susie Bates has tried everything. She's moved to leg, she's moved to off, she's come down the wicket. She's had a dirty hoik to the leg side as well and couldn't get it away.
If you're unfamiliar with Gibson, it's a similar kind of build to Catherine Silverbrunt. This time Bates winds up for a big drive and gets no timing on it, but as a result it rolls slowly to Bouchier at mid-on and they can get through for a single. 25 for 1. First run conceded by Gibson. 1 ball left in the over.
Yeah, she's strong, isn't she, Gibson? She's hits the bat hard. She's that skiddy kind of bowler that's a little bit brisker than you'd think.
Bowls a heavy ball, can we say that?
Bowls a heavy ball, yeah.
No one knows what it means, but, you know, it does mean something. She's in again. Kerr drives sumptuously through the offside for 4. That is a beautiful shot. Over-pitched, but brilliantly put away. We've seen her do that a couple of times today. She looks in terrific touch. New Zealand pick up 5 runs from that over. 4 dots to start with. And I'm supposed to give way to Atif Nawaz, but his healing hands on my knotty shoulders are just so lovely. It's hard for me to say goodbye. But I'm going to have to. More from you, Frankie, and then I've got to go.
Yeah, well, we were talking about bowling a heavy ball, hitting the bat hard, and that last delivery, unfortunately, from Danny Gibson was anything but. Went to the pace off, and it was floaty, it was a low full toss, and that is just easy pickings for Amelia Kerr. And good signs the way she started her innings today. She's looked really balanced at the crease, has been able to access through the offside, and just looks like she's got her timing as well. So for mine, it's been a solid start. There's been little glimpses from Susie Bates as well that she's hitting the ball well, but she's got into the stage now where it almost looks as though she's trying a little bit hard, trying to force the issue here.
Yeah, they've made a tidy-ish start here, New Zealand. 29 for 1 after 5 overs. Susie Bates on 16, Amelia Kerr on 13. As this is short, it's been pulled out towards the deep backward square leg region. Going to require a bit of a pickup here from Sophia Dunkley. She gets the throw back in, just a single. Well taken by Amy Jones as well. But, Lauren Kemp, who's continuing for England for the time being. And yeah, how do you kind of... It was Freya Kemp, I beg your pardon. How do you sort of measure this? It's hard to say because they haven't really taken the game by the scruff of the neck. But equally, it's been sort of tidy-ish. This is why I went with the word tidy. Here's Kemp in again to Amelia Kerr, who punches that ball to backward point. There's a slight fumble. They're running through for a quick single. They'll make it. Charlie Dean gets the throw at the non-striker's end. But Kerr was comfortably home at the end. I mean, they've made a little platform for themselves there.
Yeah, I think it feels reasonably neutral at the moment. I think both teams would probably be happy with where things sit. I think New Zealand, the fact that they're only 1 down, I think that's a little bit of a tick. And then England would be reasonably happy at the fact that New Zealand's sitting at only 31 runs on the board. So reasonably 50-50.
Kemp into Bates again, who swings wildly out towards the mid-wicket boundary. That's going to go to the boundary for 4. Terrific shot, slightly agricultural really, but very, very effective. Another boundary for New Zealand, who move on to 35 for 1.
Yeah, this is a tough over for Freya Kemp to come back in and bowl the 6th and the final of the power play, and you know that New Zealand have to be looking to target it. You've got 2 players, faced a number of deliveries now, going along okay. You want to make hay when you've only got 2 fielders out, and so there's 3 balls left of this power play, and they'll be looking to target the boundary as much as possible.
Kemp into Bates again. This is shorter outside off. It's been punched down the ground this time. There's a diving effort at mid-off. It's unsuccessful. That's going to run away to the long-off boundary for 4. Terrific shot. Back-to-back boundaries for Susie Bates. She's on to 21. New Zealand building a bit of momentum here at the end of this power play.
Yeah, good signs. That is not quite out of the coaching manual would be how I'd describe it, but the ability to stand tall on the delivery and almost baseball slap it straight down the ground past mid-off. Hit with power, 2 balls in a row, and it looks like a little bit of fluency has come back into Susie Bates' innings now.
39 for 1. 2 balls to come in the power play. Kemp running in again. It's a short outside off. Pace taken off. It's been punched again straight down the ground, and that's going to go for 4 as well. 3 boundaries on the bounce for Susie Bates here. And, none of them have looked particularly pretty, but each one more effective than the last. New Zealand 43 for 1. Still a ball to come in the power play.
Yeah, back of the hand from Freya Kemp, and it just sits there waiting to be hit from Susie Bates. Gets herself across to off stump once again, and then somehow finds the room to slap the ball down the ground. Not quite a straight bat, not quite a cross bat. It's all just about finding space at the moment for Susie Bates. She's gone 3 boundaries in a row. Should be trying to go 4.
She's being creative at the moment. This is Fuller, driven again straight down the ground. And that's another boundary, the 4th one from the over for Susie Bates. Just really, really aggressive batting, effective batting for New Zealand to finish off the power play. 47 for 1 after 6 overs. And that is a terrific start now for New Zealand. I know you asked at the beginning, Frankie, for 60 for no loss after 6. I feel like you're going to take 47 for 1 after the power play.
Oh, absolutely. And I think we're going into the start of that over headed at 50-50. And the ability to hit boundaries like that now puts it 70-30 back in New Zealand's favour. They will be thrilled with that power play, the ability to have a big over at the back end of it. It just puts a little bit of momentum into your innings now, and you've got two players who've hit multiple boundaries. The big challenge comes now with spin in the field spread, but you go into it with a good platform. 47 for 1 after 6, you would take that every day of the week. And now it's just about how deep into the innings can New Zealand hold on to that momentum and push that momentum on.
Now, Sarah Glenn coming into the attack, as you say. Spin. The field spread as well. The power play restrictions relaxed. New Zealand have made a good start here, though. Got themselves into a good position so far. Can they capitalise? Here's Sarah Glenn into Amelia Kerr, who looks for the sweep shot, gets a hold of it, and that's going to run away to the fine leg boundary for 4. And that brings up the 50 for New Zealand. 51 for 1 off 6.1 overs. These batters are really turning it on now.
And that to me, as I've spoken about a lot today, is taking intelligent options, and that is one. It's using the pace that you know you're going to get from the Sarah Glenn delivery and not trying to overhit it. Get yourself into a good position on off stump to access behind square on the leg side.
Down the slope as well, as Glenn is in, this time on the off stump. It's been cut by Kerr out towards deep extra cover for a single, just behind square in fact. 52 for 1 after 6.2. Yeah, it was just, it was down the leg side, that first ball. And again, as you say, just that awareness of the ground, knowing the slope is going to favour her playing that shot. Doesn't have to get too much on it, just has to beat the fielder inside the circle. Fine leg is up inside the circle still, as Glenn is in once more. This time the ball's been sort of cut somewhat airily to mid-off. There is no run. As Bates just gestures with her hand, that one just held up a little bit off the surface.
Yeah, and that'll be the important thing through this period is boundaries, but also strike rotation. You don't want to be facing dot balls through the middle of your innings.
Glenn into Bates again. Bit more flight, just holds that one back a little bit as Bates pushes it defensively into the covers. Amy Jones does the fielding. There is no run. She's doing all sorts of gestures with her hands at the moment, is Suzie Bates. She's playing charades out there.
I like it. I like that there's that communication between the two players. There's only 2 of you out in the middle when you're batting, and so you may as well use that. Otherwise, it feels very, very lonely against 11. So good to see that little bit of communication from the 2 New Zealand batters, keeping each other on task, I guess is how you'd describe it.
Glenn into Bates. Again, lots of flight on this. Cut away nicely. There is protection at deep backward point. Charlie Dean gets the throw back. Another single to the score. And 53 for 1 after 6.5 overs. Lovely crowd here today at Canterbury. People enjoying the weather. Still very, very pleasant. Not too hot, not too cold. There's Glenn in for the final ball of the 7th over. It's been cut again nicely, but picks out the fielder at backward point, and there is no run. So 7 overs bowled in this New Zealand innings. They are 53 for 1, having been put into bat. Suzie Bates leading the way, 34 for her at the moment, and Amelia Kerr on 19 as Frankie Mackay is going to take a little break. World Cup winner Alex Hartley back in alongside me. And, well, from a New Zealand perspective, Alex, this is more like it.
This is more like it, isn't it? This is what we've wanted to see throughout the series. Build partnerships, be aggressive. This is where things get a little bit trickier for New Zealand as Sophie Eccleston is about to come into the attack, bowling down the slope. And what I mean, the slope angling from right to left, so that'll help her with spinning the ball as well. And the occasional one will just skid on up the slope.
Yeah, she's the best in the world. Best in the business, Sophie Eccleston. She has the ball in her hand, an expression that says, I mean business. And she comes to Bates, who looks for a reverse sweep, times it beautifully and places it as well. That's going to run away to the deep third boundary for 4. There was a chase on there from Lauren Filer, but she couldn't get there. And it's yet another boundary for Suzie Bates, who's galloping away here at Canterbury. 57 for 1 New Zealand after 7.1.
Yeah, great shot from Suzie Bates, putting the world number 1 under pressure straight away. And what we do know is if you can get on top of Sophie Eccleston, sometimes she does lose her head because she's not used to batters going after her. What we don't want now is Suzie Bates to play the same shot and get out LBW.
Here's Eccleston in once more. Fly to delivery, chipped up in the air and caught.
All that.
It's Eccleston. Only took her 2 deliveries and she's made the breakthrough. And it is the big wicket of Suzie Bates. She's looking so good, but she departs for 38 of 26 deliveries. And New Zealand, just as they built a really, really solid platform, lose one of their mainstays. 57 for 2 now after 7.2 overs.
That's why she's the world's best, isn't it? That's why she's #1 in all formats. First ball gets reverse swept for 4. This one just holds the length back ever so slightly. Susie Bates comes down the pitch and just chips the ball straight to the standing captain, Nat Siverbrunt, and she gets the key wicket yet again in another batting lineup.
Now, so Nat Siverbrunt, acting captain today, taking the catch. She'll be pleased with that as well. And, crowd here applaud that effort from England's acting captain, Susie Bates. Well, she just had a forlorn expression. She watched the ball as it tantalizingly held in the air, carried into the hands of Nat Siverbrunt, and then her head just slumped down. And, well, second wicket.
The incoming batter is New Zealand's captain, 77, Sophie Devine.
Thank you, Aggers, and welcome to our listeners on 5 Sports Extra. England have just taken a second wicket here. They put New Zealand into bat in the 3rd Women's T20 International. England unbeaten on this tour so far. England's women's team unbeaten all summer at home. And well, New Zealand have made a slightly more promising start today. They're on 57 for 2 after 7.2 overs. They've just lost the wicket of Susie Bates, though, for 38 of 27 deliveries. Sophie Eccleston striking with her second ball here at Canterbury. Eccleston in once again. This is short. It's been cut nicely out towards deep extra cover. It'll just be a single. It's the new batter off the mark. Amelia Kerr also batting well. But England, you get the feeling one could lead to 2, 2 could lead to 3 very quickly.
Yeah, that's 1 wicket here and break this partnership, and the collapse is on.
Here's Eccleston in again, down the leg side. It's been flicked away. It's trickling away fine towards the boundary. Sarah Glenn is in pursuit. She's not going to get there. The ball will cross over the boundary sponge. And that's going to be another boundary for New Zealand. Well, looks like that intent is still there, Alex. That fall of wicket, it's not going to slow things down at all.
Well, you've got to keep the intent in T20 cricket. Yes, you might lose wickets, but somebody out there has to be busy, and it was a poor delivery from Sophie Eccleston, just angling the ball down the leg side, trying to just skip one through a little bit quicker, just loses her line.
Amelia Kerr on strike. She's on 23 now. Eccleston in, and that one's gone through her. It's bolder. Sophie Eccleston creating havoc in her first over. She's dismissed both set batters from New Zealand. First, she got Susie Bates, and now she has Amelia Kerr. Sophie Eccleston demonstrating exactly why she's considered the best in the business. 62 for 3 now, England, after 7.5. New Zealand, I beg your pardon.
That's now 33 consecutive international innings in which Sophie Eccleston has taken at least 1 wicket. She's got 2 in the over, 2 set batters for New Zealand. After each delivery she's been hit for 4, she's got a wicket with it.
Yeah, that's a big wicket for England. Amelia Kerr was looking good. She's played some nice shots in her 23 off 18 deliveries. Now, there's going to have to be a bit of a rebuild job here for New Zealand. Sophie Devine at the non-strikers end. Brooke Halliday is going to come in and join her out in the middle. And this is not an easy situation to come into, Alex.
Well, what you don't want is 2 new batters at the crease. In T20 cricket, you don't want 2 batters that haven't faced any deliveries. Sophie Devine's only faced the one. She crunched Sophie Eccleston to deep cover to get herself off strike, and then Amelia Kerr flicks Sophie Eccleston for 4, then gets bowled the next delivery. So we've got the left-handed Brooke Halliday to the crease now for New Zealand, and New Zealand under the pump.
Yeah, they most certainly are. Our best score for Brooke Halliday in her 30 matches came against England a little bit earlier this year, as Eccleston is in, and that ball's been driven nicely by Halliday, but straight to extra cover, and there is no run. So a terrific first over that from Sophie Eccleston. She did concede a couple of boundaries, but she also got a couple of wickets. 62 for 3 New Zealand after 8 overs here at Canterbury, the Spitfire ground. It's quite overcast here, if I'm honest, but the weather is quite pleasant, other than the sort of dark clouds above us. It's quite nice. It's sort of warmish and not too warm, and in the crowd I can see a few ice creams and cold drinks and things like that, and see a few England flags hanging around. Might get a lot more use this weekend. Could be a really good weekend for English sport, this. Test match at Lords.
I know.
T20 series against New Zealand. And
Wimbledon final.
Wimbledon final.
Euros final.
That's the one. That's the big one. Here's Sarah Glenn to continue. Lots of flight on this. Nearly chopped onto the stumps by Divine. It somehow trickles past Amy Jones behind the stumps, and they get through for a single. Divine just taking a breath there, I think. For a second, she thought she might have played on. 63 for 3 after 8.1.
There are a few bad ways to get out in cricket, and chopping on when you're the key batter and the key player is not exactly what you want to be doing, is it?
She's got to find a captain's innings somehow, Sophie Devine. It's been a tough tour for her. Loss after loss after loss. They're also on a bit of a run of losses in T20 cricket. They've lost 4 in a row in T20s. New Zealand. 2 in this series so far, 2 in the previous series against England. That's who, if there's any consolation, that's who they got their last win against as well. That was against England in the 3rd T20 International in New Zealand in March. It's another straight ball from Glenn's just been punched back to her by Halliday. There is no run.
I'll tell you what, when you look at this New Zealand side and you look at how they've played their cricket in the last 6 or 7 months.
As Glenn very quickly in once more, flighted delivery, sweep shot, not quite executed perfectly, but it's trickling down towards fine leg. It's going to be picked up by Sophie Eccleston. Batters will just get through for a single. Is it going to be runs? Is Halliday off the mark? I think she is. Oh, still waiting for the umpire. Yeah, he's confirmed. She is off the mark, Halliday. 64 for 3 after 8.3.
You wouldn't believe that they had a Commonwealth medal, would you? The way that they've been playing their cricket since the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, some peculiar things happened in that Commonwealth Games, though, didn't they? As this is full, chipped straight back to the bowler. She's put it down. She's put it down.
Ooh.
Well, Sarah Glenn, that was a very straightforward chance in her own follow-through. And she's put it down. It was Sophie Devine as well, the captain of New Zealand and their star batter, who just chipped the ball back to her, really in a follow-through, and she's put it down.
I don't know how she's dropped that.
Well, she's back in a run for the next ball. Glenn in. This is short. Again, it's a swing and a miss from Devine outside the off stump. The ball goes through to the keeper. I don't know how she moved on from that drop so quickly.
Almost like Jordan Pickford just palming the ball down there. Glennie, you're now playing cricket. You're not watching the football.
That's quite remarkable. A life for New Zealand. Sarah Glenn in once more. This is short outside off. It's been cut nicely out towards deep extra cover by Devine. It will just be a single. So 9 overs bowled in this New Zealand innings. They're 65 for 3. Reminder, they were put into bat by England, who are being captained by Nat Silver-Brunt today. Heather Knight being rested ahead of what's going to be a very, very busy summer.
A little bit of forward planning for England in what-if scenarios. So Heather Knight and coach John Lewis are just sat having a chill today. So all I can imagine is that Heather's not being captain. I know that. I'm not imagining that. She's not out there. She's not doing it. But that John Lewis is also just having a day off as well, and both putting their feet up, sit down, watch the cricket, enjoy the day.
Yeah, we're commentating from the pavilion, right behind the bowler's arm at the moment, and they're one level above us. And just got a shot of, can't see obviously because they're directly above us.
Is that where they are?
They are, yeah, just right above us. And
how'd you get up there?
I don't know.
I thought we were at the top.
Different. Maybe there's a different
They're in a
entrance.
different building. They're in the dressing room building next door, aren't they?
It's a pavilion. No? Maybe.
2 different buildings.
Yeah, maybe. Probably. Maybe. To be confirmed. Charlie Dean in for a second over. It's a foolish delivery driven to mid-on, and there's an excellent diving stop. Terrific work there from Freya Kemp.
Do you know if you're at Taunton, there's about 9 pavilions?
Yes,
there.
of course, yeah.
I reckon.
Taunton's a... Yeah,
I reckon there's more than 1 pavilion here.
probably. You're probably right.
Yeah.
I'll defer to your wisdom. I've actually never been here before. It's my first time here today. As in comes Charlie Dean again. That ball's been driven nicely past Dean, who dives in a follow-through but can't stop it. It goes down to Nat Silver-Brunt at long off. There's a single taken. Yeah, my first time here. It's very pleasant. I quite like it.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you staying tonight?
I am indeed. I'm sticking around this evening and setting off to a T20 blast tomorrow for the Birmingham Bears game a little bit later on.
We're just hearing a bit of agony.
I think we got yeah.
It was like a, okay.
It
It's
felt like
very lovely.
It's like when you get your wires crossed on the radio, like a scanner. Here's Charlie Dean into Brooke Halliday. Lots of flight on this, driven by Halliday nicely down towards long off. Again, it'll just be a single. Things just calmed down a little bit after that partnership between Amelia Kerr and Susie Bates was ended. The last 21 balls just yielding 20 runs for New Zealand, which doesn't sound bad in the context of this series, but I mean, from where they were, Alex, I mean, they're 67 for 3. They were 47 for 1 at the end of the power play.
Yeah, and I guess that's what you know as an England side or any side. You just need a couple of wickets, put them under pressure,
Here's Dean. Oh, full start.
The next one, Sophie Devine, she's key to this. She's 4 off 7 at the minute. However, you know, if she gets in, if she faces 15, 16 deliveries, she will hit you to all parts. And she actually hit Charlie Dean for a couple of humongous sixes when we were in New Zealand just a few months ago. Humongous, is that a word?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, perfect,
yeah.
nailed it. Sometimes I question myself, you know?
No, not at all. This is the home of the great poets. It's Canterbury, as Dean is in. That ball's been pushed to extra cover. There's no run, of course. The Canterbury Tales, written
I don't
on this
really
part.
do poems.
Oh, but it's like
I don't read books either.
It's more like an epic, like the Canterbury Tales, Geoffrey Chaucer. I want to say 15th century.
I wasn't born then.
No.
I'm not going to read books from when I weren't born.
It's a school thing, isn't it? Full, driven, back to the bowler. And it's a crowd catch, really. There wasn't really a chance there for Charlie Dean. She got a hand to it, punches it down to mid-on. Long on, in fact, and they'll take a single. But interesting, the crowd thought that might have been another drop chance there, but it wasn't. It was hit into the crowd. Yeah. The Canterbury Tales is really... I'm going to get you a copy of the Canterbury Tales. I think you'll enjoy it.
Trust me, I won't even open it. Just no point.
I'm going to get Daniel to convince you. Here's Dean in. Flighted ball. Punched her off the back foot to backward point. There is no run. Just a delivery to come in the 10th over. In fact, that is the 10th over completed. So England have done a reasonable job here of just pegging New Zealand back, who made a promising start. They have a 47 for 1 from the power play, but they finish at 10 overs on 68 for 3 as the players all get themselves some drinks here at the Spitfire St Lawrence ground in Canterbury. We've got a crowd of 4,000 plus here today as well, so that's very, very exciting.
It's heaving, isn't
Yeah.
it, to the right? And I haven't had an ice cream all summer. I'm sort of debating...
Oh, today's the day.
I did tell myself I was on a diet, though, and I had a salad today, so am I skinny yet?
You're skinny. You look great.
Trust me.
Yeah, you look great. Come on. No, you could get you can absolutely have an ice cream.
I think I'll wait till I'm
let's see.
4 kilos lighter.
Let's let Norcross weigh in. He's going to come in and replace me in a second, and perhaps he can persuade you to get into the Canterbury Tales, because there's quite something about them. Well, from his facial expression, maybe there isn't. Listen, the score is 68 for 3 at the moment for New Zealand after 10 overs. Your thoughts on where their recovery lies, what a decent score might be for them after 20 overs, and then you're going to hear from Daniel Norcross.
Decent score. I just can't see New Zealand getting up to a competitive score, to be completely honest. You know, when you look at this England bowling attack, they've got Sophie Eccleston, world number 1, Sarah Glenn, world number 2, Charlie Dean, world number 8. They're just never ending with this spin attack. I can't even get my blinking words out, Dan.
Do you know? Yeah, I spotted that. But you and me both.
I'm tired.
It was difficult, wasn't it? This football business is tricky.
Well, yeah.
Because you try not to get involved, and then you do.
I don't know if anyone knows that was listening, but I was in Barbados. I haven't mentioned it.
Yeah.
And I came back, went straight to work, right?
Yeah.
I slept till midday today, and I only woke up because Tim Peach, producer Tim Peach,
Yes.
rang me and woke me up. I was fuming. But it was midday, so I can't really complain.
What did he want from you at that time of day?
He just wanted to see if I could do some work on Monday, to which obviously I'm a workhorse. I would
Yes.
never say no.
Yeah.
There's no point asking, I'm going to say yes.
Well, I know. You should just put it in your diary for
Yeah.
you. Now then, some things have happened today already in this match. Sophie Eccleston has become, or at least has moved further up, the list of leading T20 international women cricket wicket takers. So I'm struggling with the words too.
It's contagious.
She's up to 122 wickets now, which puts her on her own in 6th place. She was very briefly level with Dipti Sharma. And she now is just 1 wicket behind Shabnim Ismail
She
in
might get
5th
that
place.
today.
She could. She's only 4 wickets now behind Anisa Mohammed, who has now retired. Then Elise Perry is now 4 wickets away at 126. Our producer's chum. Then a little bit of a gap, 10 wickets further up to Megan Shute, and right at the top it's Big Nids. It's Nida Dar with 140 wickets. So she's not that far away. She's only 18 wickets away from Big Nids.
Right. Eccleston will go past Big Nids
Yeah.
during the World Cup.
Yeah.
Big Nids will get a few in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Eccleston will get plenty.
Yeah.
Plenty
In Bangladesh.
plenty in Bangladesh, right? Eccleston's going to double how many wickets she's taken in the next 4 or 5 years. She's a freak.
She's a freak. She
A
is.
good freak.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, in a
I
good
saw
way.
her today. It was really nice to see
Yeah.
her. I got a lovely hug. She's a lot taller than me, so I just nestled in, in the armpit.
You nestled in, did you?
Yeah, it was really nice.
Now then,
I needed it.
you've been told to get into the Canterbury Tales.
I'm not doing
So,
that.
I'm going to give you a couple of lines. See what you think. When in April the sweet showers fall and pierce the drought of March to the root, then people long to go on pilgrimages.
Do you know what? It sounds right up my
Yeah,
street,
does,
that, doesn't
doesn't
it?
it?
Oh, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't enjoy anything more in the world than listening to you recite that whole thing for me.
It's well to be upon one's guard, I mean, since all day long we meet the unforeseen.
Why have you now gone Welsh? You don't know what you were doing a minute ago,
Well-
but now you're Welsh.
Well, I mean, the Welsh were the original British, and it's written in it's English-ish.
And obviously
yeah.
I knew that because I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I would much rather watch Finding Nemo or Cars or
Yeah.
something like that.
Really,
No.
you're not a big fan of 15th century
Surprising that
poetry.
really, isn't it? I would much rather, I tell you what I would rather read, which is going to make Atif roll his eyes. Do you
Yeah.
know that safety briefing you get in a plane?
Oh, yeah.
No one ever reads it because you always get,
Yeah.
I've done loads of flights and they go, you should read the safety
Yeah.
briefing. I would rather read the safety briefing than that.
Well, is it said that neither love nor power admit a rival even for an hour?
I'm just, we've got a bit of a delay because someone's
we're
in the
waiting.
way.
Someone's in the way. Sorry, I will stop reading not bad bits, just bits of the
Yeah,
Canterbury
no.
Tale. You've got your wife's tale. I mean, as
Your
as-
wife's tale?
Your wife's tale. Yeah.
Is that like
as Bumble would
Catherine's
say?
writing a story?
Well, you've got your wife's
Is that
tale.
what it is?
You've got your miller's tale. You got your the wife of Bath's tale. There's all sorts of tales in the Canterbury
Is there a
Tales.
husband tale?
Not sure. There's a knight's tale.
Heather Knight?
Heather Knight's tale. There's a Heather Knight's tale. Yeah, the captain's tale. Eventually they'll start playing cricket again. Who knows? To save me from this terrible cul-de-sac of 15th century English literature. And it's going to be Sophie Eccleston who's going to bowl. Picked up 2 wickets in her first over, 121st and 122nd wicket. She's in, round the wicket, tosses it up. Driven up to long off by Sophie Devine. And they will amble through for an easy single. 69 for 3 the score. The halfway mark, we're at 68 for 3, which isn't bad. I mean, it was actually, might even have been the exact score that India were on in the semi-final of the T20 World Cup at Adelaide in 2022, which we both attended. And they went on to score 170 odd.
Is that when England chased it none down?
That's right, yes.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yes, yes.
They have just won the World Cup, though. Got their revenge.
They have. Halliday on strike. It's struck on a pad. That looks really close. Oh, now, my word. I think they might have a look at this. She went on the sweep, did Halliday.
I think that's going down.
Do you think it's going down?
Yeah.
You're usually right in these matters.
I think that's
in matters
going
of going down.
Go
They're
for
going to
it.
have a look. They're going to have a look.
I want them to go for it because I want to be right.
Well, we'll find out.
Well,
now.
the thing is now, Sophie Eccleston swapped ends, so the slope is aiding her the other way to the left-hander.
You
Does
might
that
have
make
to
sense?
might have to explain this, though,
If
because
she
it's
was
a
from
slightly...
our end, the media end,
Yes.
and the slope going from right to left, the ball as it pitches will turn down the slope. This way, it's going to go down the slope to the left-hander, not the right-hander.
I get you.
And as Halliday goes on the sweep,
Ooh.
I think this isn't going down.
Well,
On the replay, I think that could be out.
it could be umpire's call, I fancy. It's hit her on the knee roll in front of middle and leg.
I'm hoping I'm right, you know.
There's a bit of glove. There, you're saved. You're saved. It's all moot. We can see on Ultra Edge, and so all the fielders now go back to their original positions, and we'll never find out where the ball was going.
We will. I think Hawkeye boys will still play it.
Do you?
I was with Mr. Ultra Edge last night, actually,
Oh yes,
watching the football. Yeah.
taking the
Mr.
name,
Hawkeye.
isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
As Eccleston is in once more. Halliday drives into the offside, but not with great timing. Picks out fielder running in. Sophia Dunkley out there at deep extra cover. One more to the total, 70 for 3.
She's been expensive in this tournament, Sophie Eccleston, for her standards. I think she's gone at 9 and over.
It is a lot more than normal for her, isn't it? 2 for 11 at the moment. As Devine just pushes foolish ball back up the wicket to her, and there is no run.
And you can just see how easily she settles back into a spell against the right-hander. She's so consistent against right-handers. Left-handers a little bit more iffy.
Devine comes forward and defends solidly, determined to give no more wickets away to Eccleston, it would appear. Back to the bowler, there is no run. We might be getting your wish here. I'm not quite sure if they're going to show it or not. Maybe the intrusion of a glove rather wrecks your ball tracking. Eccleston in once more, and that one comes on with the arm and is played out by Devine to short extra cover, straight to the field and no run, 3 dots to finish. Just 2 runs from the over, 70 for 3 New Zealand after 11, Devine 6 off 13. Really stodgy stuff from her at the moment. Brooke Halliday has 3 off 7 as the lights start to take their effect. There are people still in short trousers.
It's warm out there. It's
It's
muggy.
quite muggy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's muggy. Not quite as muggy as what we're used to.
No. I like the mug.
Yeah, I didn't mind the mug.
It warms your bones, doesn't it?
It was nice going outside not having to wear trousers and a jumper.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? And
Wasn't it?
You know, you're just in Barbados, going to see our mate Peter on the beach.
That was
I went back
lovely.
to see Peter and
Oh, did
he
you?
asked where you were.
Did he?
Because I
Lovely
took,
lad,
I took
Peter.
a different group of friends and he said, I
Yeah.
thought you've all gone home. I said, well, most of them have.
Yeah.
Here's some new friends.
Those of us who weren't invited to stay. Yes. As Gibson starts a new over, it starts the shortish ball. It's pulled out towards deep square leg. They'll get a single. Halliday moves to 4. I missed Peter. I missed you all during that little interregnum. I had a
Yeah.
week there on my own, just listening to you on the radio.
We really missed you as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
It's very kind of you to say so.
Needed you.
I didn't miss the hurricane. Indeed. I know what you need me for. It's just cupboard love. 4 in the ring on the offside. We've got a short fine leg in, 3 out deep on the leg side as Gibson is in, short again, and they get a little bit of body. I think it's half taken by Amy Jones, and there is no run. Last 20 balls have yielded a mere 9 runs.
That is awful.
It's unacceptable, isn't it?
That is really bad. This is a T20 game of cricket. This isn't the West Indies playing against Jimmy Anderson in the Test match.
Gibson, broader beam is in, right arm over the wicket. It's nicely worked away into the onside by Devine. Should get a single at least as it goes out to spear Dunkley. That'll be all it is. Dear old Dunkley is having to go from deep mid-wicket to deep mid-wicket at the moment.
I think what they've got to do out there in the middle, Devine 7 off 15, Halliday 4 off 8, they have to find a way of rotating the strike. Can they get at least 6 and over? Because at this rate, they're going to end up on 130, 140. It's not going to be enough.
They've shown no ambition against Eccleston in the last over, did they? At all, as Gibson is in. Halliday drives in the air nicely. That's squirting away through backward point. Dunkley's after it. She will cut it off. Fleet of foot. Dunkley sprawls to her right to do the fielding and keeps the scoring to 2, 74 for 3.
Yeah, she's quick in the outfield, Sophia Dunkley, isn't she? She's one of the quickest that England have got. I reckon any other fielder out there, that's going for 4, but Dunkley gets there in a flash.
I like the way her dark glasses stay on her head.
All the time. A little bit of blue tack.
Is that what it is?
Double-sided sticky tape, I don't know.
Ooh. Did you have a method? As Gibson is into Halliday, and Halliday just works his ball back for back foot, back towards Gibson, who then scurries back to her mark. It's been quite slow progress so far, the over rate not being great, but there's been the odd hold up in play. Not of England's fault.
I did have a method.
Yeah.
I wore mine on my face, not on my hat. I've got really sensitive eyes. You'll
You
notice
do,
it now.
yeah,
I'll always
yeah.
have sunglasses on.
Yeah. Gibson in. Halliday has a swish at this, gets something on it. It's rolling away towards mid-wicket, and they might get 2. They will get 2 as the throw comes in, non-striker's end. And, you know, Danielle Gibson chased after that pretty much all the way to the ball. To about 25 yards there, but it was all in vain. A couple of more runs for Halliday. She has 8 at the end of the over. Devine 7, 76 for 3. 12 overs gone, 8 overs left. What do you think is the sort of minimum requirement when facing this England team? And I'm also thinking, these boundaries seem smaller to me. Well, the straight ones do.
Yeah, the straight
They've been
ones are
brought in,
small.
haven't they?
Do you know what? You have to get 6 and over. You have to keep rotating the strike. Then you've got to punish the bad ball. I really liked how New Zealand went about the power play today. They were aggressive. They took the game on. They went to find the boundaries. I know it's hard when you're facing the world number 1, the world number 2. They've got the best spin attack in the world at the minute of England. But you still got to be able to find a way. You can't just sit in and allow bowlers to bowl at you.
Well, because they've got a lot of them. So you're sitting in against too many. Sarah Glenn's back in the attack. The leggy, and her first ball is a bit short. It's cut away out to deep cover, where Charlie Dean does the fielding. One more to the total. I'm just checking to see where... Yeah, Dunkley is out of deep mid-wicket again. She's traversed the entire width of the outfield there.
Yep, she's a fit young lady.
She is. But you kind of sort of half think to yourself, couldn't Dean do one side and Dunkley do the other, or is it...
Well, you've got to have your best fielders in the best places.
Fair. Halliday on strike, and that's dabbed to backward point. There'll be no run. My only objection to that is that, of course, with a right-hand, left-hand combination, you're deep cover and then you're deep mid-wicket, aren't you?
Yeah, so Dunkley will stay at deep cover and then go to deep mid-wicket because she's more likely to be in within the catching region for Divine at deep mid-wicket.
Ah, I see. I get the thinking. Driving is Halliday nicely. It was aerial for a while, went through a wide mid-off region up towards Bouchier at long off. One more to the total, 78 for 3. Halliday to 9. She's showing some... since Frankie's not here, intent. Oh, she is here.
She'll come for you.
She will. Glenn in. That's punched off the back foot.
Oy.
Oh, and gets a nasty bounce, and they're going to take a single. Capsey was somewhat discomforted by that ball. It bounced viciously just in front of her. She got two hands to it, but because she parried it down, Divine was quick and said, right, let's get the run. And they did. 79 for 3 as the camera alights on the mature-looking triptych of ladies in a fourth-floor balcony.
Mature?
Yes. Oh, sweep and a miss, a polite inquiry as to a leg before, and give a nod out. Mature, yes.
They are mature. They're old.
Like good port. Yeah.
Fine wine.
Fine, very fine.
Two
very
fine wines.
Yeah, about 3 of them there. Yep. Because they've got some new flats here.
Are they retirement homes?
I don't know. This has been hiked up in the air out towards long, on and taken. Halliday's got to go. Nat Silverbrunt, the skipper, with the catch. It was hiked. They've got to get on with it, but it didn't quite get the distance. It certainly had the elevation, and only succeeded Brooke Halliday in picking out Nat Silverbrunt. New Zealand lose their 4th. They're 79 for 4.
I don't mind that from Brooke Halliday. She's trying to get things going. Just come off the toe end of her bat, gone straight up in the air, straight to one of the best fielders in the world, Nat Silverbrunt. She was never going to drop that. But I don't mind that intent. I don't mind her going for it. A lot of pressure has been built on these two out in the middle over the last 4 or 5 overs. They haven't had a boundary for such a long period of time. She tried to take on Sarah Glenn, and it doesn't come off.
It didn't, but as you say, it had to be done. It had to be done. I think you've got one more over, which actually gives me a chance. I don't know if you were listening to TMS earlier today. I was listening to it. Well, I synced it up with the telly, which I always enjoy.
Yeah, I like
you know when finally you get it absolutely spot on, and you hear the thud of ball on bat on the radio with the sound, and it's absolutely marvellous. Great feeling. Punch the air weekly. But Aggers was putting out an all points bulletin for somebody in his brass band.
Okay.
They need someone because someone's gone down. So yes, and it requires
Someone good with their hands.
good hands, good fingering technique is what you're after. A euphonium player or some such, I think he was saying. I mean, I don't know. I played the oboe, but I was very bad at that. As down the wicket comes Divine and drives Charlie Dean's first ball back
I'm not
to
bad.
the bowler. There's no run.
I'm not bad with my fingers, but I'm not very musical. I used to play the piano.
You say you're not musical.
I'm
right.
good with lyrics.
You say you're not musical. It's Charlie Dean who's in, right arm over, and this is swung away out through the leg side. It's going to be 4. Brilliant shot between the square leg and the deep mid wicket. Sophie Devine has picked the gap and crisply smashed the ball away for 4. Much needed boundary, 83 for 4.
Yeah, needed that, didn't they? New Zealand, Sophie Devine, slog sweep into the leg side. She absolutely nails it. It splits those two fielders perfectly.
It's a wonderful shot. She's going to repeat the trick as the smell of, I think, frying onions wafts in. Here's Dean. Down a wicket she comes, is driving up towards long off. There'll just be the single as it cannons off Nat Silverbrunt's shins. I heard you singing in a packed bar on Long Island, and I swear that somewhere in the region of a quarter of those notes were absolutely spot on. If you worked on that.
It was
It was beautiful to watch.
First time I've ever done karaoke.
Made
And
me weep with pride.
You actually were crying
I
as
was
well.
at the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Part of it was laughter.
Yeah.
Part of it was pride.
I mean, the song was absolutely outstanding. The Hawkeye Boys
Yes.
stitched me up with it, but, you know, it was all fun and games.
It was. It was great. Maddie Green's on strike. She's up against Charlie Dean. And she comes forward and works the ball nicely along the ground up towards Maya Bouchier at long on for a single. She's underway straight away.
I did make an outrageous claim to Henry Moran and Will Simpson when we had our few days in Barbados.
Oh, yeah.
I think I know every single song from 1999
Ooh.
to today that has been in the top 40.
Woof.
I reckon I can sing them all.
That is a claim and a half. Charlie Dean is in. Down the wicket comes Devine and wallops this back past the bowler. And down to the straight long-on boundary for 4. Terrific shot. Great use of the feet. And Devine is on the charge here. A couple of boundaries in this over. And New Zealand moved to 89 for 4.
Well, Devine got hold of Charlie Dean a couple of times in the T20 series just gone over in New Zealand. She's sat in as Devine. She's got herself in, and now she needs to accelerate to get them up to a competitive total.
Dean in again. Last ball of the over. Strikes the pad as she looks to pull it and gets very little on it. It plops up in the air. Picked up by Amy Jones. End of the over. 89 for 4. Devine 18. Green has 1.
I'm off to do
You're
some
off.
research just in case I ever get questioned on that.
Do. Yeah. Annoyingly for me, I think I don't know any of the songs from 1999 onwards. I can give you pretty much anything from 1974 to about 1991,
Yeah, I'm out.
and then I'll stop. Hopefully Frankie can fill in between 91 and 99. Can you do that?
I'd have an okay crack at it, I reckon.
Yeah. Not, and I don't mean just Bon Jovi. I know that's still really popular in New Zealand for some bizarre reason, and Guns N' Roses.
Just great taste.
Well, it is a thing about New Zealand. They do love their rock, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some people do. Yeah, I'll give it to you. Yeah.
Lauren Filer's back in the attack. 89 for 4 after 14. It's a bit skinny at the moment, but with power to add. 60 odd here. Could get a competitive target of around 150, and Devine's looking in fine fettle.
Absolutely. And she's given herself a little bit of time this innings, which is what I've liked to see.
Filer, who picked up a wicket in the first over, is in, and that's a fast ball on the pads, which has worked away off those pads and rolls down to Eccleston at fine leg. Flings the throw in. They get a single, 90 for 4. Brings Devine on to strike. She's being quick today, Filer. I mean, I don't think that's just because we've had spin on for a while. That ball looked rapid.
Yeah, it looked really brisk, to be fair, and especially that opening spell as well. I think when she actually hit the wicket, not necessarily trying to pitch it up and swing it, but actually into the surface, she looked like she had a bit of something about her.
Now then, thirds come up inside the circle. The cover has gone back out onto the boundaries. Filer is in to Devine. Devine gets one down the leg side. She falls over, does Filer, in her follow-through, and a wide is signalled. Everything was a bit messy there. If she goes short, we've got a deep mid-wicket. And actually, that's quite a long boundary. It's so bizarre that the boundary behind the batter is a really, really short one. I mean, you've got, the 25 yards and then probably another 25 yards, if that, frankly. Out of deep mid-wicket. Almost twice as big as this is scooped back towards Filer, who in her follow-through can't quite reach the ball. It was short. And every time someone's tried to pull Lauren Filer today, they have been done for pace. Once we saw a wicket. Georgia Plimmer out to her first ball. Mealy Kerr was nearly out in the same fashion. And now Sophie Devine almost offering a return catch.
Yeah, hand coming off the bat as well, top hand, Sophie Devine. And I mean, the fact that she's hit it so poorly is probably the only thing that saved her there.
Filer in again, Fuller this time, and heaved away out towards wide long on for a single. Yeah, that bouncer is rapid, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think that really speaks to it. I mean, we were talking that she looks quick from up here, which is always, I mean, it always feels like that. You sit up here and you think everyone's bowling the speed of light, but the fact that she's got multiple people up on the splice, anyone who's looked to get onto the pull shot hasn't been able to. They've been hit before, well and truly before they're ready. It is signs that the rhythm is good. Pace is certainly right up there.
Maddie Green on strike. She might try the same trick to her now as Viola runs in. Short again, and she's got hold of this and pulls it away through deep backward square. And it's going to be a boundary, despite the efforts of Freya Kemp diving away to her right. That was well struck by Maddie Green. Didn't get up quite as much. It was a bit straighter, so she was able to get inside the line and whack it away to the leg side. Didn't have to fetch it from outside off. That's well played by Green. Picks up her first boundary.
And you're guessing on it then, aren't you? With the field set out leg side with a fine leg, square leg, mid-wicket, all deep on the boundary. You're expecting something up around the nose.
She feel good about that, though, because that came right out in the middle of the bat, and it was perfectly played. Now then, what is the umpire blithering about here?
Someone sitting smack bang in front of the side screen.
that's a really not the right place to be sat bang in front of. So off goes our offender to join the cameramen. Are we happy now? I think we're happy. Right.
You look happier.
Yeah, happier. And the camera is obviously shaming the poor fellow involved. As Viola is in wide outside the off-stop, a slower ball. Running her fingers over that, and it defeats the cut of Green and goes through on the bounce to Amy Jones. No run.
That's the worst part, isn't it? If you're one of the offenders, either walking past the sight screen or sat in front of it, and then you just get shown on camera over and over and over again on the big screen. Next thing is phone will be blowing up. Everyone will be telling him he's rather foolish for thinking he had the best seat in the house.
Is this what doxing is? As Viola is in, this is carved away to backward point and into the hands of Sarah Glenn, who takes a really good diving catch, diving away to her right, two-handed, just an inch or two off the ground. And Maddie Green's got to go. Viola picks up her second wicket. It was a scoop, really, and it came off the thick outside half of the bat. But Sarah Glenn does really well just to judge that and dive away to her left, weaker side, and takes a good catch. New Zealand have lost their fifth wicket. Every time they look like they're about to get going, they get a setback. 96 for 5, 15 overs gone. Or from Frankie Mackay. And then to take you through to the end of the innings, it is going to be Atif Nawaz.
That is a cracking catch, that from Sarah Glenn. That is a really tricky spot to be fielded. The ball comes to you in all different sorts of ways at short third, and that has come right off the middle of the bat, sliced away from Maddie Green. Great contact, diving low away to her left, has pulled off an absolute specky. And if you're Maddie Green walking off, she's been a little bit out of touch. The runs have been hard to come by, and that's when you know. That never happens to you when you're in perfect form. That either finds the gap or someone drops it and you have a little smile to yourself and on you go again. But as soon as you get either that little bit out of form, or whether you want to call it form, we used to have a coach, Bob Carter, who said he didn't believe in form. There was no such thing as form. You're either in the runs or out of the runs, but no such thing as form. So
I like that.
I'll say Maddie Green might not be out of form, but she certainly has not found herself in the runs, and that's what happens, something like that. And then what a great move on top of it. Takes a specky, and then that Silver Runt goes, here you go, have the ball in hand.
Yeah, you like that, don't you? A bit of confidence back. Here's Glenn in. Down the track comes Sophie Devine, punches the ball to mid-off. There is no run. New Zealand just running out of steam a little bit here. Again, they were looking very promising at the power play, 47 for 1 after 6 overs, and now with under 5 overs to go, 96 for 5. There's Glenn in once again. Lots of flight on this. It's been guided just past a diving backward point fielder out towards deep point. It'll just be a single. And, well, it's kind of on Sophie Devine now, really, just to find... You kind of feel like they've got to go at close to 10 and over here to just give England something to chase. Get close to that 140 mark somehow.
Yeah, that'll be the discussions happening out in the middle, is around how do you push up to that total. And the good thing is you've got Sophie Devine in and set. Faced 26 deliveries, striking the ball really well. So it actually looks as though she could explode at any moment and just pepper the boundary.
There's Izzy Gaze on strike now. Another foolish ball, nearly bolder. It's an appeal for LBW. I think it just struck her a little bit high. They're having a little chat. I don't think they're going to review this. It just held up for an age in the air and just defeated the batter. And well, they've opted not to go for the review of England. I think maybe the teeny tiny bit of bat on that.
Yeah,
maybe?
Perhaps. I think maybe just managed to jam down on it. Sarah Glenn was certainly interested, though.
She was indeed. There's Glenn. His gaze stands perfectly still with her back lift in place and kind of scoops that ball out towards mid-wicket for a single. She gets off the mark there as he is. I remember watching her get a half-century against England earlier this year in Wellington, I want to say. It was an unbeaten half-century, filled with some really attractive-looking shots. Hoping to try and replicate some of that form here, just to give her team a good total. Here's Glenn into Devine, who again waits on a really, really slow ball and can't do much with it, but push it back to the bowler. Mistime it really back to the bowler. No run. Terrific over this from Sarah Glenn. Just a couple of runs from it so far. Just really slowing things down. I'd love to see the speed. She's been terrific today, Glenn. One ball to come from her. As that ball's been mistimed back to her as well. And there is no run, so that's Sarah Glenn's work done for the day. 1 for 14 from her 4 overs. Terrific spell of bowling.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That is simply brilliant, and it's great to see here all her teammates get around her. Lots of high fives, a lot of pat on the back, because that is a phenomenal spell of bowling. To be able to come in and have the impact that she's done just looked so difficult to get away. The way she could control pace, the way she controlled her length throughout. Sophie Devine's trying to get at her. She's dancing down the wicket, she's moving about the crease, but Sarah Glenn, it feels like, is just that one step ahead, always able to mix it up, to keep the batter guessing, and they just haven't had any answer to her today at all.
And it's going to be Sophie Eccleston. She's still got 2 overs to bowl. She's got figures of 2 for 11 so far from her first 2. And it's going to be Izzy Gaze on strike. 4 overs to go in this New Zealand innings. They're 98 for 5, having been put into bat by England. They just need to find some runs here, New Zealand, urgently. Here's Eccleston. Does that ball just cramps Gaze for a bit of room? She pushes the ball to backward point. There is no run. And this is the challenge, really, because you're looking to accelerate if you're New Zealand, but you've got to contend with some of the best bowlers in the world.
Well, just 3 fielders out at the moment for Eccleston.
This time, again, looking for the cut shot. Misses. The ball goes through to the keeper. There is no run. Yeah, it just shows you a dominance, really. They're all sort of down slope in the leg side. There's the long on in place, the deep mid-wicket, and the deep backward square leg. No one deep in the covers. Good awareness from Nats at a brunt. The conditions and the pressure keeps piling on these New Zealand batters. Eccleston into Izzy Gaze, who looks for the reverse sweep and gets a little bit of contact. Not really a fluent contact, you would say, as the ball just sort of trickles to the edge of the circle in the third region, and it'll come back from Sarah Glenn's throw. They'll get through for a single. Yeah, it's been signalled as runs by the umpire, so 99 for 5 off 16.3. At the moment, the projected score is exactly a run a ball, 120. That's not going to be enough. There's another play and a miss outside the off stump from Sophie Devine, who's just lost her fluency completely at the moment.
I don't even know how that has actually missed the stumps. Skidded on so close to the top of off stump.
Here's Eccleston in again. This time Devine does get the middle of the bat. Flips the ball out towards mid-wicket, where it's fielded by Sophia Dunkley. They'll get through for a single. Singles aren't really going to hurt England right now. It does bring up the New Zealand 100, though. 100 for 5 of 16.5 overs. And, it's just stuttering a little bit towards the end of this innings on New Zealand. Desperate for some big blows. Perhaps they'll come off the blade of the New Zealand wicketkeeper, Izzy Gaze. It just took a moment there to work out exactly where those fielders in the deep were in the leg side. Just doing a bit of scouting as Eccleston is in. And she bowls her off stump, out of the ground. Gaze looking to push the ball, looking to be inventive. Misses. Eccleston hits. And New Zealand now lose their 6th wicket, 100 for 6 after 17 overs. The capitulation continues.
Yeah, I'm going to be a little bit critical here of Izzy Gaze. She gives herself room and then just has a little prod at it, a little poke. If you're going to get outside the leg stump and offer up 3 stumps for Sophie Eccleston to have a look at, you've got to be trying to hit a 4. That's your boundary option. The offside all up inside the circle, looking to hit through there powerfully, but got herself into a real tangle. And you just can't do that against Sophie Eccleston. She is the best in the world for a reason, and it is because she seldom gives the stumps away. Too good on that occasion once again, Sophie Eccleston. And that 100 mark coming up wasn't a lucky one for New Zealand. But there is still plenty of power in the shed. Sophie Devine out in the middle. It just feels like she needs someone to get going alongside her, someone to take a little bit of pressure off. And the new batter in is Hannah Rowe, and she is a fearsome striker of a cricket ball as well in her domestic side. The Central Hinds, she bats at number 4, is arguably one of their better batters and is often looked at to bat through and then become their finisher as well. So in her domestic side, a lot of weight on the shoulders as a batter.
Yeah.
And so to be coming in at number 8, this is not an unfamiliar role for her, but it's one that perhaps a few less deliveries to get going than normal, but she hits the ball just as far as Sophie Devine when she gets going. So she loves the slog sweep, loves to use the long levers. So you just feel that to take a little bit of pressure off Sophie Devine, then if Hannah Rowe can get hitting, it'll be a real positive move here.
She'll be at the non-strikers end at the moment. Freya Kemp running in to Sophie Devine. This is down the leg side. It's been signalled a wide by the umpire. Hannah Rowe at the non-strikers end was looking for another one, but there wasn't one there. New Zealand will take that. And just looking at Hannah Rowe's career statistics, she's played 57 women's one-day internationals and 45 T20 internationals as well. So a lot of experience there for Hannah Rowe. Still just 27 years of age, so accumulated a lot of experience very quickly. There's Freya Kemp now sprinting in towards Devine, who pumps that ball out towards the mid-wicket boundary. It's going to get there. Fielder at long on made a diving effort. It's Maya Bouchier down there. The ball was travelling and gets over that boundary rope for 4. There's a valuable boundary from a New Zealand perspective. 105 now for 6.
This is a target over for New Zealand. Unfortunately for Freya Kemp, every ball of this over, Sophie Devine or Hannah Rowe will be looking to hit to the boundary. It's been an expensive day for her so far, and a big challenge here to try and restrict that run flow.
Kemp in again, slightly slower ball, but she waits on it really nicely. The Sophie Devine pulls it well, but can't beat the fielder at deep backward square leg. It's Sophia Dunkley again who gets the throw back in, just a single. And now Hannah Rowe's on strike, expecting something big straight away.
I'd love that. I'm not sure if we'll see it straight away. It might be the case of a ball or two, give herself a little bit of a sighter just to see what conditions are like. But I would absolutely expect after that she'll be trying to launch a few into the stands.
Still 16 balls to come in this New Zealand innings. They're 106 for 6 as Hannah Rowe has been bowled. Full and fast from Freya Kemp. Yorks her. She has a wicket. It's Freya Kemp who goes first ball. New Zealand now lose a 7th wicket. 106 for 7.
Well, that's the ball to bowl to the new batter, isn't it? A full straight Yorker and just gets under the bat of Hannah Rowe. That is excellent from Freya Kemp. Has been under a little bit of pressure today. Boundaries have flowed from her bowling. To bowl to the dangerous Sophie Devine, and then gets her first look at the new batter and is right on the money right from ball 1. Outstanding from the youngster.
And Leah Kasparik is going to be the new batter coming in. I'm expecting to see a lot of her with the ball later on. I think that most New Zealand fans were hoping we wouldn't have to see her with the bat, but in she comes, and she's got Freya Kemp to face up to, who's bowling full and fast. Just taking a look at it in slow motion, it really was just the perfect ball, wasn't it? First up, very hard to play that.
Yeah, spot on. Absolutely spot on. That is, when you talk about bowling your Yorkers and almost right on the shoe there from Freya Kemp, that is inch perfect from her. And Lee Kasparik coming in at number 9. I mean, she's got a one-day international 100. She is no mug with the bat. She's perhaps not that same power option, that same raw power of some of the others in the New Zealand lineup, but she invents well, she uses pace well, she finds space, and so she could be a useful partner here at this situation to go with Sophie Devine, just to try and make sure she's scoring a runner ball.
It's Freya Kemp now into Leah Kasparik. Starts with a short one outside the off stump. Everybody misses. A rare fumble from Amy Jones behind the stumps. They get through for a bye. And, well, they'll get Devine back on strike, which is a win of sorts for New Zealand right now. And you're quite right when you talk about Leah Kasparik. Her sort of T20 numbers are quite misleading with the bat because her average is 6 and her high score is 19. But as you say, in women's one-day international, she's got 113 to her name and an average of 17.58, which is, you know, a lot better. So, and a lot of experience as well. 32 years of age, played over 80 women's internationals for New Zealand. And she was also the joint fastest to 50 T20 international wickets in the women's game. Leah Kasparik did that in 29 matches.
Yeah, she's a supremely talented player, and to be really honest, I'm not sure how she's found herself out of the New Zealand setup for a while. It's one of those confusing ones that was dropped, went back to domestic cricket, played exceptionally well, scored runs, took wickets, ended up captaining the Wellington side at times, did everything asked for, and then has really struggled to find a way to get back into the mix of this New Zealand side. But when you look at her numbers at the international level, they are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Her strike rate, I think, in T20s, I think she takes a wicket every 13 or 14 deliveries, which is simply world class. So to me, it's a no-brainer that she should be involved.
Now then, Freya Kemp into Devine. It's full, it's been smashed down the ground and over long on for 6. Terrific shot from Sophie Devine. It was in the slot and it was given the treatment. 6 runs for New Zealand. Starting to get a little bit of a move on with just over 2 overs to go. 113 for 7.
Well, that is the power of Sophie Devine. It is the loopy, slower ball, the back of the hand from Freya Kemp, and there is not a ground that can hold Sophie Devine. That is huge. That is right in the slot from Kemp, outside the off stump, on a length, and that is dispatched from Devine.
It's been expensive today. Freya Kemp gone for 38 from a 2.5 overs so far. And she comes again to Devine. It's outside the off stump. It's just inside that guideline. And Devine was looking to play a little bit of hide and seek. In the end, she's been caught. Well, caught out, I should say, not out. It's a very misleading use of language there from me. I beg your pardon. It's a dot ball. Freya Kemp's over is done. She's got figures of 1 for 38 from her 3. New Zealand 113 for 7 after 18 overs. Devine on 32 off 34. Leah Kasparek yet to score. She's faced just the 1 ball. Just getting a visual of a very content and very relaxed looking Heather Knight at the moment with a warm drink in front of her. Knowing her, I reckon that's a green tea or maybe a peppermint tea or some kind of
Health.
Yeah, some kind of minty tea.
Okay.
I was listening to Test Match Special earlier today. I'm very curious to see what it is that Carlos Brathwaite drinks. He's got some kind of health tonic that he's really into. It's got a bit of green tea in it and various sort of like health-sounding products, the kind of things you'd find in a prominent health food shop.
Okay.
I don't know, I'm not really a big supplement person, but it's all the rage. Reverse sweep attempted by Kasparek. There's a big appeal from Eccleston. There's a shy at the keeper's end as well. They do get through in the end. We'll find out if that's going to get signalled leg byes by the umpire. I haven't seen a signal so far, so I think it's come off the bat. That should be Kasparek off the mark. We'll just wait for confirmation. Let's take another look at that. Did it? Yeah, she got a big chunk of glove/bat on that. So Kasparek off the mark. 114 for 7 New Zealand. As Eccleston in once again. This time the ball's been smashed by Devine. Oh, that's huge, is it? Yes, it is. Over the mid-wicket boundary for 6. Sort of in between deep backward square leg and mid-wicket. The fielder in the distance, it was Freya Kemp. She thought she was in business for a second, but that ball kept travelling in the air. And another huge hit for Devine, who moves on to 38. New Zealand just making a little flourish here.
Yeah, watch out in the crowd now. Sophie Devine is ticking a couple of big 6s in the last couple of overs. She'll be looking for at least a couple more.
120 for 7 now, New Zealand. 10 balls to come in this innings. Down the track comes Devine, and she smashed this ball past the bowler, past the umpire, past the stumps, and down to the long-on boundary. I'm saying long-on because it's slightly to the right of the stumps, but really, it's a dead straight drive from Sophie Devine, who moves on to 42 now. 124 New Zealand now for 8 wickets, and this is very... 7 wickets, I beg your pardon. This is very impressive power hitting at the death from Sophie Devine. 42 off 36 for her. Can she make it to a half century? Eccleston in, just holds one back as Devine shows it a little bit more respect and places it to long off for a single. The score moves to 125 for 7.
This is why the New Zealand side love having Sophie Devine at number 4. This is the moment that they enjoy, is that no ground can hold her, no bowler can hold her. When she gets going, she can put the ball over the rope almost at will. So that is why they love her in that position.
It's Eccleston in. Kasparek down the ground. Looks to find space. Can't beat mid-wicket. There is no run. And just to your point, Sophie Devine, she's hit 2 6s so far today. Both big blows. 1 over mid-wicket. And 1 over long on. Now then, this has got to be a free hit for Kasparek because she can't get off strike.
I think that's what Sophie Devine's come down and said.
Have a swing. And she's had a swing and she's been bowled. Eccleston makes absolutely no mistake. Her final ball in this game, and she's got herself a 4th wicket. Sophie Eccleston, nonchalant in her celebration as well. Just another day at the office for her. New Zealand, 125 for 8 now with 1 over to go.
Yeah, but you don't mind that. You don't mind that at all. It was clear the message. Sophie Devine had come down. There's 1 ball left in the over, and she's saying, well, it's 2 or 4. Find some space, find a gap. And Lee Kasprick has tried. She's got a cross to off stump. She's tried to go for between a lap and a sweep, trying to access space down the hill. Hasn't been able to capitalise on it, get any bat on it. And Sophie Eccleston, once again, too good. Base of middle stump, sneaks it under the blade. And she just can't stop taking wickets. Sophie Eccleston, what a superstar. I mean, it feels like you tune up every day. It's just another day for her, and she walks off with a little 4 next to her name.
Yeah, finishes with figures of 4 for 25. Sophie Eccleston, as she keeps climbing up that list of top wicket takers in this format. Scary how far she can go. Still just 25 years of age. Sophie Eccleston just celebrated her 25th birthday a little bit earlier this season, actually, in the series against Pakistan. And just going from strength to strength at the moment. Now then, Danny Gibson has been given the job of finishing the innings for England. Figures of 2 for 11 from her. Figures from 0 for 11 from a 2 over so far, I should say. In she comes to Devine, who's had a big swing at this down the ground, down to long on, where Maya Bouchier will field, and it'll just be a single. It's pretty much the ideal start to that over from England. 126 for 8, 5 balls to go, and the informed batter is at the non-striker's end.
Well, if you're Molly Penfold, you just have to, it has to be bat on ball, and you've got to run.
Yeah.
So ideally that bat on ball is going closer to the non-striker's end. So then it's easier for Sophie Devine to get through, but it just needs something on it. Bat, pad, glove, whatever it is, it just needs to be something that allows them to at least cross, and for Sophie Devine to get back on strike.
Yeah. We'll get some runs. It's Danny Gibson just concentrating, hop and a skip, and she's into a run. And this time the ball's been driven straight to mid-off. They're going to run through for a single anyway. The throw comes to the keeper's end, but the batters do make it through. So she's done her job as Molly Penfold got the informed Sophie Devine back on strike. There's 4 balls here for Devine to do some damage. She's already on 44 of 38 deliveries. Played a really good innings, stabilising that middle order, even though she had to struggle a little bit in the middle against the spin of Eccleston and Gibson. And Glenn, I beg your pardon. Now she's got a chance against Gibson, who's in to Devine, who drives the ball past the fielders in the covers. They're going to come back for 2, are they? They're going to take 1 for the throw, a deep extra cover, and they're going to make it 2 runs for Devine, 2 valuable runs for New Zealand, inching their way to a respectable total here. 129 for 8, 3 balls to come in the innings.
Yeah, well, that's another good way to go about it, isn't it? If it can't be 6, it can't be 4, then 2's are good. Keep yourself on strike for as much as possible. It brings about a little change in the field too. Square leg coming up, mid off, dropping back to long off.
Yeah, 2s are hard. I had to run a 2 recently. It took me a week to catch my breath. 129 for 8. Sophie Devine on 46. She'll be looking for a boundary, get herself to a half century. Valuable runs for New Zealand. What can she do? Here's Gibson in. Big swing, down the ground, and 1 bounce 4. That's 50 for Sophie Devine. For just a moment, it looked like Maya Bouchier was in the game. She dived to her left-hand side, full stretch. But in the end, it was 1 bounce 4, and Sophie Devine reaches a 40-ball half-century in valuable runs. She takes in the applause of this crowd here at Canterbury. New Zealand 133 for 8, still 2 balls to come in the innings.
Well, it shows how hard she hits the ball as well. That's 5-6 metres away from where Maya Bouchier is stationed down at long on, and hasn't even got within cooey.
As Gibson in. This time the ball takes a thick outside edge and it's going to run away to the deep 3rd boundary for 4. Some more fortuitous runs on that occasion, but New Zealand will take them any which way they come. 137 for 8. This is what they were hoping to recover to, Frankie. They're getting closer to that 140 mark.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's just swing hard and the luck will follow you. There's real bat speed from Sophie Devine. Gives herself some room outside the leg stump so she can free the arms up, and it is a big thick outside edge that flies away. But she is power personified. I don't think there's anyone in the women's game who hits the ball harder or further than Sophie Devine.
1 more ball to come in this innings. Here we go. Danny Gibson into Sophie Devine. So low full toss has been smashed out towards the leg slide, and that's going to be another boundary to finish the innings. So a nice flourish that from New Zealand to finish. It comes off the blade of Sophie Devine. She looks at her bat. She looks satisfied with her work. New Zealand finish on 141 for 8 from their 20 overs. And that's, I'm going to say, all things considered, Frankie, that is a decent recovery for New Zealand.
Yeah, absolutely. That is, you're coming off saying, oh, that's the first tick really is to get up over that 140 mark. Ideally, you're pushing up in the 150s, 160s, but that at least gives you a score on the board to bowl at, and I think they'll be really thrilled. A little cameo from Susie Bates up top. She made sure there was some momentum to start, and then Sophie Devine was really watchful early. She really did take her time, allowed herself to get in, to be very risk-averse to start her innings off, and then she is a player who can catch up. So she was in at the back end and able to, it felt like, strike boundaries at will. So love the way that they were able to finish the innings off. You take a bit of momentum off the field as well when you have a big last over. So 141 on the board, it is a score, it's something to bowl at, and it's possibly the first time we're going to see that throughout the one-days and in this T20 series so far.
Yeah, in terms of momentum.
It does just show the importance of Susie Bates, Amelia Kerr and Sophie Devine. They were the only players to get into double figures for New Zealand today. You know, Susie Bates, as you say, brilliant at the top of the order, showed a little bit more, I guess, oomph within her innings, didn't she? She came out, she hit some lovely shots down the ground. Amelia Kerr as well, again with her before she was bowled by Eccleston, and then Sophie Devine, but nobody else getting into double figures, and that's where New Zealand have problems, is that they're so reliant on those three.
They certainly do, and well, I mean, they finished with 3 boundaries there for Sophie Devine, 3 boundaries off the final 3 balls of that innings, which has given them, as you say, Frankie, a little bit of momentum. Alex Hartley back alongside on commentary. I mean, from an England perspective, maybe there were some phases where they didn't execute as well as they'd like, but it's those players again. Sophie Eccleston, 4 for 25. Like she
Do you know what? She'll be annoyed with the fact she's gone for 25 as well. First over went for like 9, second over went for like a few more, and you got hit for a couple of boundaries. She'll be annoyed that, you know, she had 13 dot balls within that as well, so she did go for a few boundaries, but again picking up 4 for. She just performs time and time again, and she gets key wickets.
And well, this one, you know, might not get as many headlines because the figures don't tell the full story, but 1 for 14 of 4 overs from Sarah Glenn. Just the way that she adapted her pace, the way that she just really held back, really slowed things up in the air, particularly to Sophie Devine, who we've seen already. You know, she can be such a ferocious hitter of the cricket ball. I mean, you know, it just showed so much skill and class for me.
Yeah, I think the impressive thing when it comes to Sarah Glenn for me is just how much she keeps the stumps in play. Wherever she is in the world, she will just bowl at the stumps, and that's what makes cricket hard, isn't it? We often say hit the top of off. Well, Sarah Glenn, time after time, hits the top of off, and when she misses, she's missing by small margins of error. She mixes up her line, she mixes up her pace, and that length as well. So, you know, I think for her, it's just keeping things really simple, bowling at the stumps, and it's so hard to do as a leg spinner to be so consistent like she has been for the last year or so.
Absolutely outstanding stuff from England's bowlers. They were all great for her. Kemp slightly expensive today. She went for 38 from her 3 overs, just the 1 wicket for her. It's sort of an important time to execute if you're an England bowler. So many bowlers in contention, particularly for those seam bowling spots, Alex, with Lauren Bell sitting it out today, but putting in good performances across the previous games. And you know, you got Lauren Filer, who was very impressive as well today, 2 for 17 from her 3 overs. Just that extra bit of pace, that extra bit of bounce, it just puts batters under pressure.
Yeah, I think Lauren Filer and Molly Penfold are very similar bowlers. I think they have that raw talent, that raw pace, and it's just that both of them getting that control. And we've seen today that Lauren Filer was in control of what she was doing, and hopefully we'll see the same from Molly Penfold. But when you have women that can bowl consistently 70 miles an hour and above, it's exciting to see.
And how about Nat Sciver-Brunt? That's what I want to get your thoughts on.
Didn't even bowl today.
Didn't have a bowl, but I felt like she marshalled her troops quite well. There was a moment in the game where Sarah Glenn took a superb catch, and Frankie called it. She threw the ball to Sarah and said, you know, you're taking a great catch, have a bowl. Like straight away, it just felt like there was quite a smooth transition there. I mean, obviously, you know, Heather Knight is England captain, but I think Nat Sciver-Brunt proving herself more than capable as well today.
Yeah, of course, and Sciver-Brunt's come out and said that she would love to captain England one day. So I think it's one of those where when you've got an England captain that's done it for so long, and then someone else comes out and says, I want to do it, I guess it probably takes a little bit of pressure off Heather, because Sivabrunt had that break from cricket. Was it last year or maybe the year before? Maybe it was last year.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was
the year before.
Yeah, the year before.
Whenever it was.
Yeah.
And you almost got, okay, well, does she want to be captain? Can she be captain? And I love the fact that she said, yes, I want to do it. She comes in today, and as you say, she marshals her troops really well.
Yeah, it was a very strong performance again from England, especially when you consider 47 for 1 at the power play. I keep saying that, but I don't know how to measure it, Frankie. I mean, like, if you're 47 for 1 in the power play, normally if you finish on 1 for 1, I think you're going to be disappointed. But with the context of this series and everything that's happened, is that respectable? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is. I think the fact that they got off to a reasonably good start. I think any time you turn up to play cricket, you're probably taking 47 for 1. And then they would be disappointed with how that middle patch went. Just the frequency of the loss of wickets, that would be, again, a little bit frustrating. But they were able to string a few partnerships together. And so I think that finish from Sophie Devine in particular, brilliant, and gets you to a score. So I think if you're the New Zealand side, you can't be too critical on yourselves. You've got to look at the positives when you do have them in front of yourself. And I think today is largely positive. Yes, once again, it's Sophie Devine, it's Susie Bates, it's Melly Kerr. But you got a score from 3 of them. You got a contribution from 3 of them. You've got a score on the board. And I think as well that the way that England line up today, they're a little bit lighter in the batting than you're used to seeing. So you've got the chance to go out there, take a few early wickets, put some real pressure on. And there was some zip in the surface. I mean, Lauren Filer really got it humming through. The short balls were effective. And New Zealand's going to line up with Hannah Rowe, who's got the ability to really swing a new ball under the floodlights. You've got Molly Penfold, who bowls rapid herself. And then you've got Sophie Devine, who's skiddy, can move the ball both directions, is generally not that much fun to face with a new ball in hand. And then 3 spinners to go along with it. So I think that New Zealand at the moment should feel really positive about the work they've put in. And it's a chance to get yourself back in the series. That has to be the discussion point. Is the first 2 games, basically nothing went right. Game 3, you're in a really good position at the halfway point. Take a few wickets, put some pressure on, all of a sudden scoring gets tough, and you could find yourself walking out of here 2-1.
Oh, well, there's still certainly a chance, and there's very strong body language. I can see the New Zealand players right in front of me. They were practicing really hard, loads of really aggressive throwdowns, and just a little bit of sort of bowling on the practice surface, just on the edge of the circle. It's done with a lot of conviction there, and lots of smiles on in that camp's face as well. I just want to focus on the flip side as well. You said they're slightly light on batting today, Frankie. I mean, Sophia Dunkley coming back into the team, sure, but then
you've got no Danny White.
No Danny White, yeah.
So you are weaker in your opening position, is what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
No Heather Knight, so no experience, no glue to hold yourself together. Amy Jones has had to have a shuffle up the order. She's been so brilliant in that lower order, almost saviour position, but she's got to come up into your top order. As much as Freya Kemp and Danny Gibson, great hitters of a cricket ball, super talented, they're young, they're new to their international careers. Can they win games for their country in those important positions? Charlie Dean, is going to be really important with the bat, but again, she's done it at county level, domestic level. Can she do it at the international game? Can she win a T20 game? And great, Sophie Eccleston, she can hit a ball 6 off her first ball, but can she put an innings together of no? So there's lots of questions still there for mine, and whenever you don't have Heather Knight involved, she to me is a little bit of that middle order glue that can kind of fill both roles. If you need someone to come in and score quickly, or you need someone to put the brakes on a little bit and be low risk and keep things together, she can do that. You don't have her, so good luck.
I mean, what you do have is you got Sophia Dunkley, you got Maya Bouchier. I just watched Maya Bouchier taking some throwdowns. She was hitting that ball hard. Let me tell you, can probably hear it on our FX tonight, right? Al, I mean, you've got Alice Capsey, you've got Nat Sivabrunt, you've got Amy Jones. Are you worried? Because for me, I'm thinking you're ultra confident with that top 5.
I think the only question is can New Zealand get early wickets? That is what will get them in the game. If they can break that opening partnership, Sophia Dunkley won't have that international confidence that she necessarily had 2 years ago. So she's under a little bit of pressure today. So if you can get her early, try and get Alice Capsey early as well. But when you look down that order, they have got power hitters. I think England will be confident chasing this down, but New Zealand are definitely in this game.
Yeah, they most certainly are. Sorry, I was just distracted momentarily. Tammy Beaumont on the edge of the boundary, obviously not featuring in the T20 series. She's wearing the shiniest blue trousers I have ever seen.
She got ready in my room today. She got them out of her bag, and I was like, "Whoa, they are royally shiny and blue."
They're very, very shiny. Yeah, no, I feel like I kind of want a pair. I don't know. Right, the players are making their way out to the middle. So, Alex, I mean, you talked about early wickets. How are New Zealand going to make that happen? Give us a few thoughts on what you think New Zealand will be looking to make happen, particularly with Sophia Dunkley coming back into the side, and then to take you through the first 5 overs on commentary. It will be the very dashing, the very handsome, the very dapper, the very cool, the somewhat moist Daniel Norcross.
I don't know why he's moist. It's not raining outside. He's just had a quick break outside there. But I think New Zealand, they'll open the ball in with Hannah Rowe. She'll look to get that early ball swinging. Can she swing it back down the slope? We know that Maya Bouchier likes to hit the ball into the leg side. There'll be a deep square leg. She'll be there catching New Zealand. If they can get a couple of wickets in the power play here, then who knows what can happen.
I tell you, I was moist in Brighton.
Oh, yeah, because it was raining heavily.
It was absolutely... When I left to get the train, which I did, and I managed it, with a minute to spare, it was lashing it down. I had to do this incredible dance with my umbrella, because I had the big umbrella, and there were dawdlers, you know. There were dawdle walkers.
And you had a train to catch.
And you know what I'm like about dawdle walkers at the best of times. But when they're impeding my passageway to the nirvana of the last train, yeah... I was chuntering through the rain, moistened as I was. Now then, it's all looking rather beautiful now. We've got this lovely milky late evening sunshine, and we've got Hannah Rowe charging in towards us from the Nackington Road end. Oh, big appeal for LBW, first up and given. A wicket off the very first ball. Well, 2 first ball ducks from openers in this game, and Maya Bouchier is just being asked by Sophia Dunkley just to wait a minute. It looked from where we were sitting, or indeed still are sitting, that looked out. But Maya Bouchier has made the T sign with just 2 seconds remaining. The umpire's finger went up immediately. There was absolutely no doubt in his mind. And now we will have a review. She had no real foot movement. Trapped on the crease, shin height. It felt bang in front, but of course, bowling coming towards us. So
yeah, the only question here is, has it done too much as the ball swings back in? It nips down the surface ever so slightly. I think this is going to be clipping leg stump.
This feels out to me.
Feels very out.
I think there's an inside edge because she didn't go up for the referral immediately. It's hit on the pad flap, just above the knee roll. In front of middle and leg. Pitching on off. Very out. Very out indeed. Hitting middle and leg. Well, what a dramatic start we've got here. Maya Bouchier has to go for a first ball duck. First ball of the innings. And I think that trumps Georgia Plymouth's first baller. And New Zealand are right in this game as Alice Capsey jogs out to the middle. It was a good bit of bowling from Hannah Rowe. It was on the money straight away. And in fairness, Maya Bouchier sort of played around it, trying to work the ball into the onside rather than playing it back whence it had come. And she paid the penalty and has to go for a duck. England done for 1.
Yeah, well bowled from Hannah Rowe, and that's exactly the start that New Zealand wanted. Maya Bouchier has been brilliant for England in the last few months, and especially in this series. She got her first international 100 to her name, and she's just looking to clip that into the leg side. Her back twists in her hands. She's playing across the line of the ball. Yes, the ball swings in nicely, holds its line, nips off the surface, down the slope ever so slightly. But I think when Maya Bouchier goes up to the dressing room and sees that, she could have kept that out.
So is this just a left to right slope, or is there a bit of up and down as well? I thought we had a little bit of a sort of sliding slope from top to bottom as well as left to right, or right to left. If you know what I mean. You don't need it. Rose in, this has worked away nicely out through mid-wicket by Capsey, her first ball, and she should get a couple of runs. She does, because it's fielded out a deep mid-wicket in the end.
So not just like that, but like that?
Yeah, if you like, yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it's more from right to left, if I'm
right to left,
being honest
okay.
with you, yeah.
So sort of Lordsy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, when you come here and you train here, you often talk about picking your end to bowl from, bowling with the slope.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be skidding the ball down the slope? Do you want to be using it to your advantage?
Here's Rowe once more into Capsey. Pulls at this vigorously through mid-wicket. It's going to run away for 4. It's a good start from Alice Capsey, despite England losing that early wicket. Her first ball she clipped for 2. Her second ball she's pulled past the left hand of mid-wicket and it's run away to the boundary sponge.
Yeah, that ball not swinging there for Hannah Rowe. Doesn't really get up either, but because she's going to swing the ball in, Alice Capsey's decided she's going to hit that into the leg side and actually adjusts really nicely, holds her shape, hits the ball past mid-wicket.
So let's have a look at this field. 4 in the ring on the offside, a deep third, a mid-on, mid-wicket, short fine and a deep square leg. Rowe is in, and that keeps really low outside the off stump. A mully grubber goes through to Izzy Gaze, and there's no run.
Yeah, Alice Capsey just pointing that out to Sophia Dunkley at the non-strikers end that stayed low.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I'm sure she's
thanks
seen
for that, Alice. Yeah, it's really helpful. I always wonder about that. Does it really help your partner at the other end? Oh, that was a really good ball.
Oh, that stayed low. That did a bit.
Yeah. You want to watch out for this. Here comes Rowe. Once again, it goes for the pull once more, does Alice Capsey, but doesn't really time it. It goes along the ground to short mid-wicket. And there is no run. Neely Kerr there at short mid-wicket. So this target, 142, after Sophie Eccleston picked up 4 wickets today, take her up into 5th place in the leading wicket-taker list. I don't know how Adam Mountford's going to cope when she goes past Elise Perry, which she could do in the next game.
I wonder if
Only 3
he'll
to
then
go.
want a Sophie Eccleston shirt, not a Elise Perry
Well, I
shirt.
wonder. I might have to think about that. If he's listening, though, that would ruin the surprise. Rowe in. This is carved away out to deep third on the second bounce. Throw comes in, and they'll just stick to the one. Fran Jonas down below us. 7 for 1 at the end of the first over. A dramatic over that saw Maya Bouchier LBW to the very first ball of the innings, and then a 2 and a 4 for the next 2 balls. Just settling down a little now, and I see that England's captain Heather Knight is in the commentary booth for Sky.
Well, it's easy for them to get into the
booth.
the booth, isn't it? Because it's just there,
Yeah.
just by the dugout. We can't
You gotta
drag
be
her
really-
all the way up to commentary.
But you've got to be flexible here. I mean, if you want to get over that row of seats, you've got to be like me. You've got to be like a nimble beast.
Yeah, well, I
like
go-
a mountain goat.
I go round them. It's only about 10 seats.
You
so
go, yeah, you
I
go round.
round,
But,
yeah.
but
You can go over.
You need to practice your hurdles.
No, I did a workout in my bedroom earlier, so I'm a bit.
Oh, are you? Yeah.
It's
Did a workout in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. Fran Jonas is going to open the bowling from the pavilion end. And I'd be interested in Alex Hartley's take on Fran Jonas's action when she's recovered.
Her accent's all right.
Her
as well.
accent is fine. She's in. Is short outside the off stump, cut away. They'll get a single as it's slightly fumbled at point. Hannah Rowe does the tidying up. Because I find her action, and I don't want to be mean, but it feels lazy to me.
I don't think it's lazy. I think she just needs to hold her front arm up for a little bit longer. And it's finding ways to do that. So she brings her front arm in and down really early. So her margin for error, she's always going to bowl short and wide.
She's in now. That is shortish, and it comes on with the arm and worked into the onside. Capsey wanted to run. It wasn't there. She's been sent back. Shy at the stump, misses. Capsey home anyway.
She's got the skills to mix up a pace. She mixes it up really nicely. But her length, I don't think she's necessarily in control of the length that she's bowling because her action is slightly all over the place.
She comes again, left arm round, and that comes on with the arm once again, and is played back to the bowler.
And I had a conversation with her in New Zealand about it, of just trying to hold that front arm up slightly longer. And she was like, right, okay. So I think she's tried to do a little bit of work on it, but it hasn't worked. So I don't know whether it's something that she has tried to work on consistently.
She's in again, short once again, and cracked into the offside, but can't beat the field. Hannah Rowe sprawling to her right, stops.
But a really simple, I guess, drill to do with it is have a weighted ball in your front arm and the cricket ball obviously in your left hand, so you deliver it. And when you come up to the crease in training and you hold that weighted ball up, you actually feel the resistance and you have to hold the ball in the air for longer.
In comes Carson. This is pushed into the offside. They come through for a quick single, shy at the stumps. Well, had it been direct, I think Alice Capsey would have been out, but instead Izzy Gaze kind of fell over the stumps, rather like a less nimble mountain goat, one might say. And as a result, Capsey is home.
Yeah,
but
Georgia
a direct
Plymouth-
hit, she's out here.
Georgia Plymouth there with the pick up and throw, and she released the ball quickly. It was just in front of the stumps. So a little bit of a wayward throw, but as you say, Capsey would have been gone.
9 for 1 with that single. Capsey back on strike now. Jonas only conceded the 2 singles in this over.
She got away with this over, has Fran Jonas.
Now, what's happening here? Why have we got another pause? Umpire Sue Redfern is proving an immovable obstacle at the moment as she stands exactly where the bowler would be. They're having a look upstairs, which is completely unnecessary, because you could see with your own eyes that... Well, hang on. You can't be out if you're just touching the ball. She's broken the stumps with her shoulder before the ball was near her, so it can't be out. That's what they were checking, extraordinarily. Right, here we go. We can continue. Last ball of the over. Jonas into Capsey, who drives in the air, but it lands safely just in front of Sophie Devine at mid-off. End of the over. 2 gone. 9 for 1 England after losing Maya Boucher. And if you want to see Maya Boucher's wicket, you can do so tonight on the iPlayer, where there will be extended highlights. And of course, we have clips throughout the day on cricket up and down the country. You'll have seen the Lord's Test match, for example, if you go to the splendid BBC Sport website and app, where you can see all the wickets that fell today. You can see the wonderful shot that Jamie Smith played. I told you he was
out
good,
the
didn't I?
ground.
Out the ground.
So here's my thing with that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Jamie Smith batted very much like Ben Foakes.
He
just
did a bit,
couple of
didn't he?
extra sixes.
He did a bit, yes. I think it being his first game, we're going to allow him to just feel his way into the game. Well, I am.
Yeah, I thought you might. Surrey boy and all that.
Surrey's taken a lot of wickets in this game and taken a lot of catches and scored quite a few runs. We've got 2 50s, 5, 6 catches, I think, and 9 wickets. I'll have you know. As Hannah Rowe is in down the leg side, that'll surely be a wide unless it clipped a bit of pad. Maybe it did clip a bit of pad. Dunkley couldn't catch up with it. So I'm really sorry that Lancashire's only produced a couple of 3 wickets in the form of Anderson and no runs. But you don't take it out on me.
Lancashire produced the greatest ever Test cricketer.
Yeah, but it's quantity, isn't it? Not quality we're after.
Right,
here.
is it?
Yeah, you need a team
Yeah.
of 11. You can't have a team of 1. Here comes Hannah Rowe. This is smashed in the air. Oh, it's huge. It's gone back over the bowler's head, and it's gone for a big 6. A mighty shot from Dunkley. She's got underneath that and smashed it really straight back over the bowler's head. A long way into the night sky, right out of the middle, knee bent on the ground, huge flourish, a beautiful follow through, and the one-time Surrey woman Sophia Dunkley hits that splendid 6.
What a shot that is from Dunkley as well. When you look at it, you think it was in the slot, but actually Dunkley came down the pitch, got herself into a position to be able to hit the ball down the ground. That was played with some confidence from Sophia Dunkley.
That was a big 6 as well, wasn't it? It's landed just in front of the sight screen. She does that from the other end. We might be in business here.
Is that window open anymore? We'll take a grab.
Well, you better take it. I'll be diving for cover. You can be sure of that. Maybe Frankie can help.
She's still the pro.
Yeah. Rowe into Dunkley. A slower ball, which she works into the onside, just to the right of the mid-on fielder, so they get through for a single. 16 for 1. As
Oh my word! Our engineer's just fallen off his chair.
oh dear,
I think the
he has.
chair's just collapsed.
I think the chair has collapsed. I hope he's all right.
Are you
Well, he says
okay?
he's all right. He's smiling, but you know, he's absolutely demolished the chair. He's broken the chair. I've not seen anything like it. And he's relatively svelte. As Rowe is in, he's pushed in defence out to the offside
Are you
for
okay?
a single.
He's just embarrassed.
He's given the thumbs up. There was made quite the noise. Goodness me. Well. How dramatic. There was just this terrifying noise, and we looked to our right, and the engineer had gone. And we can't actually do anything without the engineer, so he's actually more important than any of us.
I'm so evil.
You are, rather. You're just mocking him now. 16 for 1. Rowe is in. Capsey drives back to the bowler, who does very well to stick her foot up. You've got to be careful there. She stopped the ball, but you can turn an ankle that way. And now she has to pass the ball to the umpire to check that she hasn't taken a great lump out of it with her studs. It's quite the thing, wasn't it?
I don't even know how that happened. Not even swinging on his chair. He just sat there.
Has he been given the same chair back?
Twiddling with it. No, the chair's broken. It's snapped.
It's gone. It has snapped completely in half.
He's just twiddling with his buttons, and the chair collapsed underneath him.
Yeah.
Poor bloke.
I mean, it's quite a flimsy-looking chair, and he's a solid fella. But, you know, maybe he had his weight distribution all wrong, as Rowe is in down the leg side, wide, signalled. Once again, Captain not able to get anything on it. Good sprawling stop by Gaze. Prevents anything more than that wide.
I'm going to have to turn my back to him, because every time I look at him, I start laughing. Sorry.
He's got a very lovely smile on his face.
Bet that hurt, you know.
Oh, well, it must have hurt.
Right on the tailbone.
Oh, yes, on the coccyx.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also a bit of a shock.
It was a massive shock. I didn't know what was going on. There's incredible noise. Rowe is in. This is flicked away into the onside, out towards deep mid-wicket for a single. Capsey moves to 9, 18 for 1. 3 overs gone. That target, 142 on 5 Sports Extra. Every ball of every game of the international summer on the BBC. We've got a test match taking place between England's men and West Indies men. We've got this T20 international. There's 2 more T20 internationals before the England women's summer doesn't quite come to an end, because they go to Ireland, don't they?
Yes.
But that's away. It's an away series.
So their home summer comes to an
Home
end.
summer comes to an end at Lord's next week, the day before the men's Trent Bridge test. And you know, at the moment, according to my calculations, England's men and England's women have won every game they've played. Now, they haven't yet won the test match, men, but they sort of pretty much have.
Yeah.
So, at the moment, England's men played 2 out of 4 matches against Pakistan in May, won them both.
Yep.
England's women won every game they played against Pakistan. So far, they've won every game they've played against New Zealand. But that unbeaten record is under threat here,
It is.
as Sophie Devine comes in from the pavilion end. This is worked off the back foot by Dunkley, just pushing into the offside. Capsey. And there is no run.
Getting your Surrey players mixed up.
I am. Well, there's so many of them, you see.
Yeah.
There's so many of them.
Everywhere.
They festoon
Nat
England
Siverbrun.
teams. Nat Siverbrun, yeah. Yeah, come on, give me some more.
I know, you're the Surrey fan.
Well, I lay claim to most of them, really. As Devine is in. Short, pulled, out through deep mid-wicket. It's running away to the boundary. That's going to be 4. A very fine shot from Capsey. She's looking in good touch at the moment. It was too short from Devine, and the key there was just to get the placement right. There's a deep square leg, come deep mid-wicket, and it was to the right of the mid-wicket in the infield, to the left of that field, and it scurried away out to the boundary for 4.
Yeah, what I like about Capsey in the last couple of games, and Dunkley today here, is both of them using their feet, coming down the pitch. Capsey there comes down the pitch, turns the ball slightly fuller. It's a shorter delivery, but manages to hit the ball into the leg side.
And for that very reason, Izzy Gaze has now gone to collect a helmet.
Do you claim me as a sort of Surrey player?
Yes, I do.
Do you?
Yeah, when I need to, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because you did it once, didn't you, or something?
I did 2 seasons.
Did 2 seasons, yeah.
But I was playing for Middlesex at the same time as Surrey.
And no, that was peculiar. That was very you. Short, pulled out towards deep mid-wicket for a single. You have to be confusing in this way. It's like somebody playing for Celtic and Rangers. 23 for 1.
2 different competitions, though.
Yeah. You played under the captaincy, presumably, of Isabel Westbury at Middlesex, did you?
I did indeed. And under the captaincy of Nat Siverbrun.
Did you?
Surrey.
I sort of imagine that the captaincy of Isabel Westbury would be quite sort of prim, would be quite sort of... Do you have...
I used to disagree with her a lot.
Yeah, were her instructions delivered in Latin? Short, pulled in the air, fine, out over deep backward square leg. It's running away towards the boundary. Fielders converge, and it will be cut off. Good work out there. Just keeps the running to 2, 25 for 1.
No, they were in English.
Yeah.
I lived with Izzy as well.
I know, it's the most extraordinary... You know, there's a film called The Odd Couple with Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon, and I can't think of an odder couple than you and Isabel Westbury.
Yeah, she was far too bright for me. She once had a dinner party.
Yeah, and that was in Latin. Yeah.
Basically, Isabel Westbury, the lawyer.
Yeah, Devine. In Bouchier. Dunkley drives up to mid-off, and there's no run.
There was a diplomat. There was
Yeah.
another lawyer. I swear there was a secret spy there.
Yeah,
There
wouldn't be
was somebody that
surprised.
worked for the government. And then
Yeah.
they all looked at me and was like, and what would you do for work? And I was like, I work in a bakery. I make sandwiches.
Yeah.
And I play cricket. I sat there for 45 minutes. I ate the food and went, you guys have a lovely evening. I'm going to go to bed. I don't understand anything you're talking about.
Well, yeah, I can imagine they would have moved on to all manner of topics. The Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, one of the greatest housemates. So we used to sit down and watch, what's that, University Challenge on a Monday?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I imagine that went down very well. Divine, short, and that's really well stopped by Izzy Gaze, who were not going to prevent a run, but it was short. She's standing up. I'm not sure if she was expecting that ball. There was a big pull, a miss, and a bye has resulted, but it could have been an awful lot more than that. 26 for 1 at the end of the over. 4 gone. Dunkley 10, Capsey 14.
Yeah, good keeping from Izzy Gaze, because standing up to the stumps, we see Amy Jones do it time and time again. Somebody like Ellie Threlkeld as well. You don't get given any cues from the bowler. You don't get a pre-warning that the bounce is coming. You just have to react. And the reaction times were pretty decent there. Yes, there was a bye, but she done well to stop the 4.
Now, there's clapping above heads here at the moment, which is a thing, and that's gone awfully well. University Challenge, I can imagine. Good on the music, listening to
Izzy
you?
used to get like 6 or 7 a day right.
Yeah.
A week right. I got 1 in like 4 months.
Oh, you must have loved it when you got one,
Did
though.
I celebrated?
Yeah, did you do an in-run to here? This, now then, Jonas has swapped ends. He's coming in from the Nackington Road end. The first ball is wide of the off stump, gets squirts away to short, fine leg up an inside edge. There's no run.
No, I did a Shamsy, took my shoe off, called a friend. I've done it.
Done it. Jonas in once more, and Dunkley goes for the reverse and gets in a horrible tangle. It comes off a bit of a body. Shy at the stumps is affects the direct hit. There is another run there available, but they've spent way too long discussing it as the ball deflected off the stumps.
That was Sophia
And they've only
Dunkley.
picked up one because Dunkley gone too far.
No, she just wasn't paying attention. She hadn't gone much further past the stumps, but she was just looking in the complete opposite direction.
Good idea to follow the line of the ball, really, at that point, isn't it, when you get to the other end? Capsey was well home. I think a leg bye will have been signalled. I'm not sure if I saw that. As Jonas is in again, round the wicket. To Capsey, who cuts, but it's well fielded in the ring. A good diving stop prevents a run. That's Brooke Halliday there at the cover. We've got a backward pointed cover, an extra and a mid-off, as well as a mid-wicket square leg and a fine leg in the ring. There is a long on back and a deep mid-wicket. So that's wide outside the off-stump and is signalled wide.
Yeah, Fran Jonas has got away with a couple of overs, or over and a half, that she's bowled here today. A lot of it has been short and wide, but a few decent bits of fielding in the covers for New Zealand.
Very much in this game at the moment. That target 142 as Capsey goes for a big sweep and she's going to get 4. Connected with that terrifically. It was straightish and she's got that right out of the middle of the bat. Down through deep backward square leg for 4. Moves to 18, 32 for 1.
Yeah, square leg up inside the ring, still inside the power play here for New Zealand. Slightly fuller from Fran Jonas, and Capsey's onto it in a flash.
It's a fine shot that. In fact, it's just in front of square. Hit really well, hands high on the bat. Jonas in again. Now she's gone for the pull this time. That's going to run away towards the boundary. Fielder runs round. Does terrifically well. Mealy Kerr out there. Manages to prevent the boundary. They get through for a couple. 34 for 1. That was hit forcefully by Dunkley, who's timing things rather well at the moment. I'm just going to double check to make sure nothing was untoward. But no, Kerr's pulled that off perfectly cleanly. 1 ball left in the 5th. Quick conversation between Devine and Jonas. Not quite sure what that would be.
It's just a change of field. Square leg goes out.
Jonas in. That's cut off the stumps by Capsey. She gets no timing on it. It rolls out to Halliday in the covers. End of the over. 34 for 1. This game very much in the balance. England roughly up with the run rate, but they have lost Bouchier to the first ball, which you can see on our highlights on iPlayer tonight. More from Alex Hartley. Where is this game sitting at the moment? Can we see a New Zealand resurgence and get them back in this series? And then it will be Artif Nawaz.
Yeah, I think the game's pretty evenly poised, to be completely honest. Capsey, as you say, timing the ball well. She's just looking to start to accelerate. The last over of the power play, this is a really important one. England will want to take advantage of the next 6 balls, but if New Zealand can break this partnership, you never know what can happen. Yes, it'll bring Nat Brunt to the crease, but she is, although she's the best all-rounder in the world, she is human, and you know, she can't be amazing all the time.
Yeah, well, so they tell me, Alex, so they tell me. I've just seen her do it so often for England. There's Devine running in. She bowls. It's a short outside the off. Someone's been cut straight and beats the diving fielder at mid-off. It's going to run away to the long off boundary for 4. It's flat-batted, pancaked ready down the ground by Dunkley, who moves on to 14 off 13. England 38 for no loss.
Yeah, slower ball there from Sophie Devine. Sophia Dunkley looking to cut the ball through the covers, but then adjusts really well to that slower ball and ends up hitting the ball back down the ground.
I was just looking at Daniel Norcross's notebook. It's just right in front of me. I think my handwriting trumps him a little bit, if I'm honest. This is short again. It's been hit straight to extra cover this time. There is no run. Sue Redfern backs up from the stumps at the bowler's end.
You've both got unreadable writing.
Yeah, but we've got to read it ourselves. It's a shorthand. It's a protected shorthand.
Okay.
It's like a cryptic thing, you know, so nobody can
Copy
sneak and
your
shit.
notes,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
What could I copy from your notes that I would take home?
The score. This is short. It's been hit straight up in the air by Dunkley. I think it's going to fall safe, though. It does. It feels... it felt just between Halliday, who was at deep backward square leg, and the fielder up inside the circle. They both ran towards it. Neither really picked it up from the night sky. And in the end, it's another couple of runs for Dunkley. England 40 for 1 after 5.3. And
I don't know what Halliday was doing there. She ran in and then she stopped. I don't know whether she lost the ball in the floodlight at the far side of the ground, but she runs in, she stops, and then almost realises that she could have got there.
And Kasparek was running towards it as well from inside the circle, and maybe there was a little bit of like, who's going to get there? I don't know. Here's Devine into Dunkley. This is full. It's been smashed uppishly over the covers. It's going to run away to the boundary for 4. Not the cleanest striking from Sophia Dunkley, but mighty effective as England plough on. They're on to 44 for 1 off 5.4 overs.
She gives away so much to Sophia Dunkley when she's batting. This time, another slower ball. Sophia Dunkley looking to go down the ground, a thick outside edge. It goes up and over extra cover, down the hill for 4. And Dunkley looks at Capsey at the other end and goes, ooh, got away with that one.
Even Sophie Devine had a little cheeky smile on her face as well. As in she comes to Dunkley again. This is down the leg side, and it's going to be called a wide. Easy one for umpire Sue. Another one for England, 45 for 1.
A really important over for England, this, and they're on top so far in this over. Couple of boundaries. You want to take advantage of the last over of the power play, and they're certainly doing that with 2 balls left.
We saw New Zealand do it, didn't they? This will hit 4 boundaries in theirs. This is short. It's been pulled away. That's going to run away to the fine leg boundary for 4. Sophia Dunkley is not holding back at all. Just swashbuckled that one to the fine leg boundary. England fighting on now. 49 for 1 now. Still with a ball to come in the power play. They've already bettered New Zealand's power play. They finished on 47 for 1.
That's a great shot from Dunkley. Looking to hit the ball more to square leg, but ends up playing the ball fine past that short, fine fielder. It races up the hill for 4. Sophie Devine just getting her line slightly wrong there.
Yeah, it's been a costly over already. As in comes Devine now to Dunkley, who again muscles this ball out towards deep backward square leg. They'll just go through for a single. It'll bring up the 50 for England on the stroke of the power play. 50 for 1 from the power play so far, with Dunkley on 25 off 18, Capsey on 20 off 17, and England very much on track in this run chase.
They are indeed, aren't they? Looking good so far, England. New Zealand with that brilliant start, getting Maya Bouchier out first ball. LBW, Maya Bouchier going upstairs for the review, and it was hitting middle and leg. And then these two, that partnership has been very good for the 2 youngsters, and they've got a lot of experience between them, to be fair. But Sophia Dunkley's found herself out of this England side in the last few months, having a little bit of a dry patch when it comes to runs scored. She's gone away, gone and played for the Stars, played for her region, and stacked up the runs and got herself back into the squads.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity this for Sophia Dunkley, just to remind England selectors she's a name they want to keep in mind when putting that squad together for Bangladesh.
This is what I want to see.
There we go, Molly Penfold. Here we go. Now, there's a lot of hype about Molly Penfold, her pace and her height.
Got 5 for on debut at Leicester, if I remember correctly, or a debut in England. She definitely got 5 for at Leicester. Did she not?
We'll try and
4
find
for?
out. So Alex is just looking over her shoulder, asking Frankie. In comes Molly Penfold and bowls a fullish wide delivery, which Dunkley doesn't get anywhere near. It goes through to the keeper. Just a little loosener, possibly, from Penfold. 66 miles an hour.
Maybe she's got 3. I don't know. I thought she got 5. I thought she tore through England.
Well, she's needs to tear through them today if New Zealand are to get back in this series. Yet to register a win. What was it? What was it in actual fact, Alex?
Wow, I'm not even going to say it. I'm so wrong.
Were you a long way off, were you?
2 for 40.
Oh, okay. Here's Penfold in once again. This time the ball's been smashed by Dunkley over the covers. Just slowing up a little bit off the outfield. It's not going to go for 4. Halliday with a sliding stop. It's just going to be a couple. But another sign of intent there from Sophia Dunkley. It doesn't matter if the power play's done and dusted. She's going hard.
Isn't it funny what your own brain...
Like, 2 for 40, you turn it into a 5 for.
I just remember her bowling gas. Must have just presumed she got 5 for. Yeah, I'll take that back. 2 for 42.
Probably still bowled gassed.
She did.
Yeah.
I remember being very impressed. Watch Frankie tell me she never even played at Leicester now.
Turn around next and she'll be like, she's a slow left armer. What are you talking about? Here's Penfold. Right arm fast, and it's been smashed again by Dunkley. Over the covers, it's going to trickle away towards the boundary. Yep, it's going to beat the chase of Sophie Devine, and that'll be 4 more for Dunkley, who is really stepping on the gas right now. 31 for her now off 21 deliveries. England 56 for 1. Penfold, well, she's up against it already.
Yeah, slightly too full for Molly Penfold there. What we saw in the first inning is the pace of Filer. The shorter balls worked really well. Molly Penfold just going fuller here towards Sophia Dunkley. If I was Penfold, I'd be trying to hit Sophia Dunkley on the badge, try and get that shorter ball in.
Yeah, we saw Filer, as you say, get Plimmer from a short ball, and she does go for the shorter ball, but Dunkley makes a bit of room, cuts it to extra cover. There's a tumbling stop from Susie Bates at extra cover. They'll get through for a single. England 57 for 1 now. Just need 85 from 80 to win this game. And, take an unassailable 3-0 lead in this 5-match series. Just looking very strong this season, England. Just every game we've seen of them, every format, just looked better and better, in great shape, good rhythm. Very exciting for this team. That's Penfold into Capsey. This is a short one. It's been left alone by Capsey. Through to the keeper, no run.
Yeah, much better from Penfold.
Just that good length, wasn't it? It's a nice length. Good carry as well through to Izzy Gaze behind the stumps. But it's just a really good time for this England team to come together. 2 World Cups coming up. 1 in T20s, 1 in 50 overs. And
there seems to be a World Cup every 3 minutes at the minute.
yeah, there's a lot of it about World Cups, Champions Trophies.
I thought they'd got rid of the Champions Trophy till someone told me it's coming back.
No.
Pakistan, the holders of it, though.
They are. They've been holding it since 2017, because that's the last time they did one. Penfold into Capsey, full and defended down the ground, but with soft hands, so they get through for a quick single to mid-on. It's 58 for 1 now, yeah. That Champions Trophy will take place, well, it's scheduled to take place in Pakistan in February and March next year. And we'll be bringing you that on the BBC. Champions Trophy, although there's still some discussion about venues and things like that. But I've been told reliably that the India-Pakistan match is going to happen on the 1st of March. And I suspect, well, it's scheduled to take place in Lahore. We'll find out if that actually happens. But exciting times ahead. Right now, though, the focus is very much on this T20 series here at the Spitfire St Lawrence County Ground in Canterbury. It's a very pleasant evening, really picturesque sky, the floodlights illuminating this ground. Just really nice atmosphere. There's Amelia Kerr into the attack, starts with a flighted delivery, a bit of turn off the surface as well, and it's just been defended by Capsey to extra cover. There is no run. And, score remains 58 for 1 as Frankie McCuff back in alongside. They desperately need a wicket here, New Zealand, Frankie.
Yeah, and no surprise that they've turned to Amelia Kerr in this situation.
It's Kerr in once again to Capsey, who comes down the track, lofts this ball up in the air. I think it's going to fall safe again, because mid-off was inside the circle, long on was back, and that ball sort of dropped just in between the two fielders again. Just England riding their luck a little bit, but coming out unscathed at the moment, 59 for 1.
Well, this is the matchup now as well. There's danger to Capsey, but the matchup Kerr to Dunkley is what they're after here.
Kerr is in. This is short. It's been cut nicely, but straight to backward point, who fumbles. And Fran Jonas has to cover. They do get through for a single, though. It's not a great piece of fielding at backward point. A good cover from Jonas. Amelia Kerr, world-class player. Disappointed to be dismissed after getting a good start today with the bat. And she comes again. The back of a length ball has been punched past extra cover out towards deep extra. They'll get a single. Yeah, she was looking very good, was Amelia Kerr. She got to 23 off 18 deliveries, playing some really nice shots, and then just
Missed one.
Yeah, missed one.
Top of the stumps, top middle, through the gate. She will be fuming. She will be absolutely fuming with that.
It's Kerr in once again, a bit quicker this time. It's been cut nicely by Dunkley again out towards deep extra cover. Another single taken. England can sort of do this in almost singles, really, because they need to get 80 off 73 balls. They've got 9 wickets in hand. They've very much got this chase in hand at the moment. Amelia Kerr needs to make something happen for New Zealand. Long on is back. As this is a short one, it's been pulled away. There is a fielder at deep backward square leg. Yeah, she does well in the deep. It's Brooke Halliday who gets the throwback, just a single again. So a tidy and a very quick over that as well for Amelia Kerr. It feels like it lasted about a minute. 5 runs from it. England 63 for 1. They need 79 from the final 12 overs of this game to win, take an unassailable 3-0 lead here in Canterbury. What are your impressions of Canterbury, by the way, Frankie? Do you like it?
Yeah, love it. I mean, I kind of have to say that as well, because Christchurch is home for me in New Zealand, which is in the region of Canterbury in New Zealand. So, I mean, I can't come over here and not like it, can I? I have to say that this is basically like my second home. But no, really enjoyed it. Really, I think it's a cool place. It's got a cool vibe. Got out to Whitstable.
Oh, lovely.
Today. Beautiful spot.
There's Jonas to continue. This is shortish, not quite timed by Capsey. In fact, she sort of mistimes it to short fine leg. There is no run. Yeah, it's a lovely part of the world here, Canterbury. It's tricky to get to, depending on where you're going from, I suppose, but it's a small town, but really wonderful, welcoming atmosphere. This is short again, just sort of muscled down the ground by Alice Capsey down towards long on. They'll take a single. What's been your favourite town that you visited so far on this trip, Frankie? Where have you enjoyed it the most?
Oh, that's a really good question. They've all actually had their own little charms, to be honest. I've really enjoyed it here. I really enjoyed Brighton, Bristol.
Jonas in again. This time the ball's been driven by Dunkley down towards long on for a single.
I kind of feel like I've been treated, that I've had some good little spots along the way. I would have liked to see a little bit more sun. Yeah. That's my only issue. But
wouldn't we all? Yeah.
I think I've been treated to some really nice spots.
Here's Jonas in once again. This is a full toss. Has been smashed down the ground towards long on. Doesn't quite have the distance to go all the way. And Maddie Green will cut it off. It'll just be a single in the end as Capsey inspects the bottom of her bat. Perhaps feeling like she got the toe end of it, really. Didn't really get it out of the meat of the bat on that occasion for it to carry. It sounded good, though, I've got to say.
Sounded good. I like this ground, though. This has been one of my favourites, for sure.
There's Jonas in once more, and she's bowled her! That's the wicket New Zealand desperately needed. It's one that skidded on. Knocks over the stumps of Sophia Dunkley. Looks up at the heavens. And she has to depart. 35 off 26 for her. England lose their second wicket on 66. They still need 76 off 67 balls.
Huge wicket. Really excellent from Fran Jonas. It looks like it's the attempted arm ball just sliding on and a big bottom edge trying to cut from Sophia Dunkley. Maybe a little bit too close, cramping her for room with the ball just angling in, moving back into the right-handed Sophia Dunkley. It's a great innings though. 35 off 26. Looked really dangerous throughout and got them off to a good start. Got them back in the game after losing a little bit of momentum. New Zealand, those big couple of overs to finish their innings off with bat in hand, and of course the wicket on the first ball. It started to feel like it was all New Zealand at that stage. So really important innings from Sophia Dunkley. She'll of course be absolutely gutted. She'll be so disappointed. She's had the opportunity to come back into the lineup got herself a start, hitting the ball well, and then to be knocked over by Fran Jonas, she'll be very disappointed with that. But a good start and a much-needed breakthrough as well for New Zealand.
Absolutely. As England's acting captain, Nat Sciver-Brunt, out in the middle. And she's going to be facing up to Jonas. What can she do with England's captain? Bit of flight on this. There's a big appeal for LBW, and the finger goes up. Well, Fran Jonas has 2 and 2. And this one could be huge. This is England's captain and their single best player, Nat Sciver-Brunt. And she's considered reviewing it, but she's not going to review. She's walking off as Nat Sciver-Brunt. So that wicket is definitely going to stand. And from out of nowhere, New Zealand back in this game. 2 and 2 for Fran Jonas. England 66 for 3.
Yeah, that is a huge wicket. That is absolutely massive from Fran Jonas. I think perhaps it might have been worth another look. Of course, given out on field, it would have had to be missing completely to be overturned. But you feel that might have been worth a look. Would have felt awful though. Hit on the back leg, on the knee roll, never feels nice as a batter. You always feel like you're in a bit of trouble. But now England they're in a spot of bother here. 76 still needed off 66. They find themselves 66 for 3, having lost 2 and 2.
And Amy Jones comes out to face up to Fran Jonas. In fact, I think that might have been the end of the over. So we're just having a look actually at what the DRS line would have said. That ball was actually missing leg stump. Well, if she'd reviewed that, Nat Sciver-Brunt, she would still be out in the middle. Goodness me.
I mean, we have got a nice angle looking at it from up here, don't we? We're almost behind the bowler's arm, but it didn't look. It just didn't look. It didn't look right. You know that Fran Jonas isn't going to turn it back. It's just going to continue on with the arm, hit in front of leg stump. There always has to be doubt that that's going to go on to hit.
Well, Amelia Kerr to continue as this ball just squares up Alice Capsey a little bit, who pushes the ball to backward point. There is no run. And an opportunity here for New Zealand to just apply a little bit of a squeeze here. Capsey is batting well. There's a new batter on the other side, Amy Jones. If they can get through that, then they're through to Freya Kemp, Danny Gibson. Here's Amelia Kerr again, as that ball's been swept hard out towards mid-wicket. It will just be a single, as Georgia Plimmer does the fielding. So, this game, England were really coasting, really, and all of a sudden New Zealand have pulled themselves back into this contest because of the bowling of Fran Jonas, who'll be on a hat-trick the first ball of her next over. There's exciting things happening. And just Nat Sciver-Brunt, just thinking about that review, and what is it? Just selfless captaincy? Is that what it is?
I'm not sure. I think it probably felt really bad whenever you get hit like that on the back leg. You know you've played on the back foot as well, so you're like, well, height's not an issue. It's hit me on the back leg, on or about, maybe just below the knee roll. It feels awful. You need your non-striker to come in at that point.
There's Amelia Kerr in once again. Oh, beautiful delivery. Pitches just on a good length and turns away from the outside edge of Amy Jones off a good length. Just beautiful leg spinning delivery. Just a perfect leg spinner, really.
Well, this is where Amelia Kerr is really dangerous, where she doesn't feel like she has to bowl every ball as a wicket-taking ball, when she can actually settle in and just apply pressure.
Kerr in once again, this time a little bit shorter, and Jones can go onto the back foot and pull the ball down towards long on for a single. That gets her off the mark as well. New Zealand, well, they're very much in this game now. As we take another look at the replay, it did feel like one that was going to go straight on. It isn't one that turned, and Nat Sciver-Brunt thought about the review and then just walked off. Bit of flight on this one from Kerr, and it's just been defended by Capsey to extra cover. There is no run. Very tidy stuff this from Amelia Kerr, making it difficult for these batters to score.
Yeah, really important patch here for New Zealand. You've got the spinners operating in tandem. It always felt like, with a score of 140 on the board, that the spin overs were going to be crucial. So far this series, New Zealand spinners haven't been great, but today's the day.
There's Kerr in once again. That's a shorter ball. It's been cut out towards a deep extra cover for a single. And that will complete a very, very tidy and a very speedy over for Amelia Kerr. England 69 for 3. After 10 overs, they need 73 more from 60 balls to win this game, as the players will all take a drink. But going into that drinks break, it feels to me, Frankie, like New Zealand are going to be feeling quite positive here. As you alluded to at the very beginning of this innings, they just had to break through that top order. It's a shorter top order for England than it has been previously. And, well, they're right in the middle of it now. Another wicket and they get into the tail. Also, the next ball, presumably, if Fran Jonas continues, is going to be a hat-trick ball that Daniel Norcross will get a chance to commentate on. There you go. That's something you don't see every day, potentially. A hat-trick shared by 2 commentators. Frankie, a few more thoughts from yourself, and then Daniel Norcross is going to take over.
Yeah, very exciting that is. I think it's a really good time as well to have a drinks break. You get a little bit of that nervous wobble. I think England have the chance now to take a couple of deep breaths.
Nonsense.
To try and find a little bit of calm out in the middle.
They're on top now. New Zealand are on top.
Well, I mean, I felt they were on top since the innings break, but that's a different story. I think it's a nice time if you're the home side to have a little bit of a breather, to have that little stop and play. But also a chance now for New Zealand. You come together as a group and you get really clear on what you're doing the next few overs, what the plan is here. A little bit of maybe I wouldn't say probably a rev up in this situation from Sophie Devine, but just the chance to get back together, get chatting about everything, get each other excited about what's going on. There'll be a little bit of hat-trick talk, I hope, out in the middle. I hope someone's clued on to mention it, because the best thing about a hat-trick is the pressure that it creates, because no one wants to be the hat-trick victim, do they? I mean, no one wants to be the person that gets out 3 and 3. So it can almost become a pressure builder in itself, that a not great delivery almost becomes like bowling a hand grenade at someone.
Is she bowling now? I think she is. This is a hat-trick ball.
This is it.
I did a hat-trick the other day.
Did you?
Yeah. Chris Jordan
Now, Fran Jonas took 2
in
wickets for the final
Bridgetown, Barbados. And it was a beautiful hat-trick, actually. It was a couple of bolts and a plum LBW.
Yeah, that's nice.
In a T20.
That's a good one.
Yes, I do a podcast with Stephen Finn. He took a hat-trick, and it was like caught at deep mid-wicket, caught at deep third, and caught it long on. Or
They
something.
all count.
They all count.
all
Yeah,
count.
yeah.
But there are better and worse ones.
Yes. Here we go. Hat-trick ball. Fran Jonas. She's into Capsey, and Capsey flicks it away for a single through sort of fine leg region. She's come back for a second. Actually, it's going to be tight, but the throw is slightly wayward. Needed to be perfect. So Capsey survives a hat-trick ball and picks up a couple of runs, but pressure is building on England. They're exactly halfway there to their target. They're not yet living on a prayer. They're 71 for 3 with 59 balls to go. So sort of halfway, at almost a halfway point, really. Short, pulled away, out through deep backward square leg, and that's going to be 4. A loose ball from Jonas just dragged it down, and it was easily dispatched.
Yeah, that's not the delivery that you're quite after. Coming back from the drinks break, you had the opportunity for a hat-trick, and then that's just a genuine drag down. Missing down the leg side as well, and that is a hit-me delivery for Capsey, and she more than obliges.
75 for 3, Capsey to 34. Jonas in again. This is chipped in the air and up and over mid-off, who's inside the circle. It's a very clever shot for 4. Very controlled aerial push drive, if you like. Just up and over the mid-off fielder. She saw that long off would come up inside the circle.
She's actually timed the pants off that. I thought she hadn't quite got to the pitch of it, and she'd been down in the air and was just going to lob that towards Sophie Devine, but she's just got the hands through it beautifully. That is right out of the screws from Capsey.
Jonas in again. This is worked along the ground up to long on by Capsey, so she's picked up a 2, a couple of 4s and a single, which is more than enough for England at this stage, but wickets. A wicket here, a wicket there, slow England's progress. Artif was talking about how the balance of England's side, a little bit more bottom heavy, perhaps, this time round.
Yeah, just a little bit less experience. You've got a few people who, while they've got talent in spades, maybe don't have the been there, done that yet.
Jones drives off the back foot back to the bowler. There is no run.
And I think when you get in those situations as well, there's something to be said for having the experience of doing it before, knowing that you've done it, knowing that your thought process was right. And when you don't have that, there's just that little doubt.
Last ball of the over, last ball of the spell, driven to short extra cover. There won't be a run. So 9 overs remain, 62 needed, just under 7 and over, the rate that they're pretty much asked to get in the first place, which was just over 7 and over, 80 for 3. England. Jones on 1, Capsey 39. You fancy Jones is a really important wicket here because although Capsey's going well, she is in that younger, slightly more inexperienced phase, whereas Amy Jones has been there and done it.
Oh, Amy Jones for the New Zealand tour, she was the thorn in the side. The amount of times you sat there and New Zealand take 3 or 4 early wickets and you're starting to think, oh, this is looking pretty promising. Amy Jones walks out and then an hour later the game's over. She's won it and she's walking off bat under her arm with somewhere between 50 and 90 not out, and you go, well, woman Amy Jones, again. It felt like every game of the series it had. She played outstandingly well, don't get me wrong, and it was excellent to watch, but it just felt like every game there was that hope of, wow, New Zealand are on top, oh, well, Amy Jones is here and it's game over.
Well, she's exasperated England fans for a few years, but in the last couple, she's come into a pretty good vein of form as Lee Kasparek's into the attack. Her first ball is full, floated up and just worked by Capsey off the front foot out towards deep mid-wicket. They think of a second, it isn't there. Yeah, she's just sort of found a bit of a groove in the last year and a half or so. I'm just seeing the replay of the Siva Brunt dismissal, and I remain baffled as to why she didn't at least have a look. It's strange, isn't it? I mean, when you're captain and you're such an important player as well.
Well, you're hoping, I think because she got herself into a little bit of a tangle, head falling over, you hit on the back leg, doesn't feel... But you're going down to your non-striker, aren't you, and saying, well, what does that look like? You're relying on them to help you out, and Capsey obviously gave her nothing.
Kasparek into Jones, drives nicely, just misses the dive of the extra cover, goes up towards wide, long off. There'll just be the single, though, as Plymouth tidies up.
But,
82 for 3.
I mean, credit to Alice Capsey. Most people, if your captain comes down and says, oh, how does that look? They just say, oh, well, yeah, send it upstairs, Skip, have a look. But she obviously from her end thought, no, that's smashing into middle, halfway up, off you go.
Kasparek in again, nicely driven by Capsey, but picks out extra cover. Susie Bates, there is no run.
And Lee Kasparek just brings about a different set of problems. She's reasonably slow through the air, will change pace up and down, but often the wicket-taking ball is the slower one. They'll almost pull the pin and take all the air out of it.
Capsey goes for the reverse, gets struck on the pad, and is given. Sue Redfern raises the finger. I wonder if she'll have a look at that. It felt like it might be going down a bit. She's talking to Amy Jones, and they're going to have a look. It's a really big moment in this game and in this series, potentially. Umpire Sue Redfern had very little hesitation. She raised her finger as she does above her head. She was convinced Capsey going on the reverse. Sometimes when they go on the reverse or you hit sweeping, umpires are more inclined to give it out. We'll get a better view of this now. Oh, I don't know. This is feeling out. Oh, that does feel out. It's got a big stride in, but I don't think it's going to be going over the top with Lee Kasparek's height. It's hitting on the shin pretty much, around about the knee roll. And it's hit in front of middle stump. This feels gone to me. Looks like a good decision from umpire Sue Redfern. There's no bat involved, so might be drifting on. Oh, it is, it's missing. Well, I thought that might have straightened a bit, but not according to ball tracking. That's Jones sliding down. Well, a reprieve for Capsey. Basically, very similar to the ball that got Nat Siva Brunt, only a totally different shot being played, of course. And Sue Redfern has to overturn a decision.
She's actually spun one. Lee Kasparek, that's the issue there. Normally she's one that's just drifting it in the air either way, but she's actually got a little bit of purchase off the surface here, and that's been the undoing. Missing leg stump.
Capsey on the reprieve. How will she respond? Tossed up, full toss, taken on the full and whipped away out towards deep mid-wicket where Mealy Kerr does the fielding. One more. Capsey to 41, 88 for 3, 59 needed from 49 balls for England to maintain their unbeaten record, both men's and women's, this international summer. It's been quite a soggy summer, but they've got through a fair few games, especially the women, as Kasparek has to stop and start in again. Jones drives firmly down the ground, but will find long off for a single. 58 needed from 48 balls, or 8 overs if you prefer. Jones has 3, Capsey has 41. It feels like this is bubbling up into a tight contest, and you realise, I mean, had Capsey gone then, England would have been in all sorts of bother. They do have batters down the order. I mean, Sophie Eccleston, Charlie Dean, Danielle Gibson, plenty of them.
Plenty. They got plenty of batting to come.
But you start to get a little nervous, don't you, as wickets fall and that rate gets up to a sort of 8.5, and that rate can change very quickly as a new batter comes in, has to find their bearings.
Absolutely, and chasing's a different beast. I think it's easy to be a lower order player when you're setting a score. You come out, you have a swing. If you don't come off, the next person does. That's all good.
Well, let's be frank. Eccleston hit the last ball of an innings for 6. If she needed 6 to win...
Can you do it?
Start of a new over. Kerr back into the attack. It was a short ball, which is pulled up towards long on by Jones for a single. So, yeah, you don't have that pressure on you, do you?
And the difference when you say, we're setting, we're going to aim to score 50 off the last 5 overs. We're going to go 10 and over. More often than not, teams do. When you need 10 and over, harder proposition.
You tighten up. Kerr in, tossed up, driven nicely by Capsey through backward point. She's going to get 1. They'll think of a second. It isn't there. A good throw comes in. A wise decision. That's another aspect of the women's game that has just changed and improved beyond measure in the last 10 or 15 years. The ground fielding, the speed to the ball, the throws that come in. As Kerr is in, that sole chopping on that is Amy Jones. Gets an under edge, didn't drag it back onto the stumps, but it bounced up for Izzy Gaze, just a pouch. There's no run. 56 needed from 45. Jones not got going yet. Just taking a little time. Get the pace of the pitch as Kerr is in. She comes down the wicket and drives firmly over the top of mid-off. And, well, that might have hit the sponge on the full. There'll be a little while now working out if it has or it hasn't. It was, again, a clever shot, similar to a shot Capsey played a couple of overs ago, seeing that mid-off's up inside the circle. And I guess you're sort of going with the turn as well, in theory, with Mealy Kerr bowling leggies. We can see that, yes, that's hit directly onto the sponge, and that will be 6. They'll take a while looking at it, but that's clearly hit the sponge on the full. And 6 has come up on the scoreboard. I think it's come up before the umpire signalled it, actually.
I like that. Whoever's watching in the box just said, well, I've seen enough. Put it up on the score, that's 6.
Yeah, me too. We've all seen enough. But we do get quite a bit of time, don't we, looking at replays that are unnecessary?
Yeah, that does tend to happen. But, I mean, I like it from Amy Jones. I like the fact that you'd back her as your wicket-keeper to be one of the players that picks Mealy Kerr well. There's a few people on the scene who don't pick Mealy Kerr's wrong and well, or at all, I might say. And so when you get someone like an Amy Jones, who is very much set up to be able to pick all the variations of Mealy Kerr, it means she can target her effectively. So I like this matchup from an England perspective, but I also like the fact that you've got Mealy Kerr in the mix. You know you're 1 wicket away from causing a few problems here, and so you go to your wicket taker, you go to your genuine strike bowler, and in this format it is Mealy Kerr.
Do you know they're still looking at this? I don't know what they're seeing that we're not seeing. That looks to me like it's hitting the full, but...
Well, what intrigues me is that there's white on the... Do you call them the Toblerones here?
Yeah. The sponge, the Toblerone, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Other chocolatey confections from Switzerland, I'm sure, are available.
I think it makes it hard with having the white branding on the...
Oh, yes, because it's all white and pink with a white ball. Yeah, good point. That's something to look into. 6 has been signalled. Short, pulled away out towards long on again by Jones. She moves to 11. That 6 got her into double figures and just eased the pressure a little on England. 49 needed now from 43.
So I think if you're trying to help your umpires out, then I think it should be a solid colour, and preferably not white as your boundary marker.
What would you prefer? Red? Thoroughly red? Tossed up, and it's been hauled out towards deep mid-wicket by Capsey. Should just get the single for it. Fielder runs round from deep mid-wicket. Non-striker's end, Capsey falls over, trying to keep her bat behind the crease. End of the over. Relatively expensive one. 48 now required from 42 balls. Jones has 11. Capsey has 43. So you do sense now New Zealand have got to try to prize open a wicket or two because, well, there is a little bit of pressure chasing. A couple of overs pass, and if England stay up with or just beyond the rate, then the pressure then slips back towards New Zealand.
Yeah, and you've got Lee Kesbrook bowling in her 50th game today as well,
Oh,
which is a big congratulations to her. But she is someone who will keep tabs on the run rate, so she's not going to be really expensive bowling from this end.
Kasparek in. This is hit firmly high in the air, out towards long off, just to the left of the fielder. And get through for a seam that didn't carry far enough to get long off interested. 95 for 3. 47 needed from 41. Jones back on strike. So the lights have taken over completely the sky. A sort of bruised indigo now. As Kasparek is in. And Jones drives in the air, down the ground, and will be dropped. Oh, goodness me. Georgia Plimmer with a pretty simple catch. She throws her head to the heavens. She's not having a great day today in the field.
Just today.
No, well, indeed, not just today. But that's a big drop when New Zealand so desperately needed the wicket. Down the wicket came Jones. And she's not really got hands on it. It's going to burst through the hands onto the sternum as the next ball's worked into the onside by Capsey. They think of a second it isn't there as Mealy Kerr's quick in off the deep mid-wicket boundary. But looking at that drop again, I'm not sure that Plimmer actually got her hands on it in the end. I mean, it's gone straight into her sternum. She was on the move, I'll give her that. I think she wasn't quite sure. Hands, fingers pointing down, up. I mean, it wasn't the easiest, but you've got to take them. You've got to take those. Kasparek in again. This is firmly driven down the ground for a single. Maddie Green will do the fielding. It's so frustrating if you're the bowler. You've set the fielders back for that.
That's exactly it, and that is how Lee Kasparek gets a lot of wickets. She looks innocuous. People feel as though they need to take her on. She's a lot more skillful than what you probably initially look at, and that's how she gets wickets.
She flings her arms out the side, and she's in once more. Next ball carved, but straight to Bates at extra cover. And there's no run. 44 needed from 37. Jones 13. Capsey on 45, approaching a half century.
Yeah, she's clever, Lee Kasparek. She has a good feel for the game. She's hard to get away, but everyone wants to.
The last ball of the over is down the leg side, and she was going for the reverse sweep there, Capsey. And I think, as a result, is that not a wide because of that? Because she's gone into that position. So, yeah, umpire Redfern did not give the wide. And at the end of the over, England need 44 from 36 balls. At target, stubbornly still around about 7 and over. 7.33 required. Frankie Mackay is taking a break. We'll hear from her at the end of the game. Alex Hartley is back. Game's sort of bubbling up. It needed that wicket, though, didn't it, I think?
Yeah, it really needed that wicket. But it's definitely game on here. I know, England only need 44, but off 36 balls. A couple of good overs here and there. A couple of quiet overs for New Zealand, and England will maybe start to panic here.
Well, that's all it'll take, isn't it? And had Amy Jones gone at that point, there would have been a problem. Our mature ladies are still watching. One of them's operating machinery as well.
She's on her phone.
She's on her phone, yeah. She's handling it very well.
She's doing well there.
She's doing very well.
Didn't even need her
flats away
glasses.
to our left. I think these are relatively new flats, and it's quite a plum sight to get if you like cricket.
Well, a beautiful sunset behind us as well that they'll get to see from those flats.
Oh yes. You like a sunset?
I love a sunset.
You do. You saw
much,
one in Barbados, didn't you? You went onto the west coast and saw a beautiful sunset.
So much better than the sunrise.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you've seen the sunrise, it can only mean one thing. You should be in bed.
For me.
Yeah, well, for us, definitely for me. Right. Start of a new over, and it's going to be Brooke Halliday with some unusual action. First ball outside the off stump, goes through to the keeper, no run. Jones missing it.
She might be quite tough to face, Halliday, on this surface. Not only because she bowls off the wrong foot, so it takes you a while to get used to her action, but she's quite a skiddy bowler. Try and skid the ball down the hill towards Amy Jones.
I just don't know how you get your triggers right
No,
when they bowl off the wrong foot. It's almost like, arrhythmia. And she is, again, wide of the off stump, and Jones waits for it and just pushes a cut shot, really, out towards the sweeper on the offside boundary. 43 off 34. Poor old Georgia Plimmer is not having a great time out there at the moment, is she?
She's not having a great tour, really.
No. I mean, the T20 average is dipped below 9 now.
Yeah.
Not helped by a first ball blob today. Can happen to anyone. As Halliday's in once more, and as is firmly struck back over the bowler's head by Capsey with one bounce, and then it'll be picked up by Long on. The comeback for a second. Amy Jones is quick, and she gets home. She was running to the danger end and on striker's end. England's 100 comes up, and Capsey moves to 47 within sight of her 4th T20 international half-century. You're smiling at our triptychs there, aren't you?
I want to go see them.
I want to go and see them. Yeah.
What a place to have a house.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Halliday in again. Oh, a horrible full toss that is swung at by Capsey, and she gets next to nothing on it. And I think she's wondering if it's a no ball for height, but I don't think it is. No, it's not, according to C. Redfern. It was just a horrible looping ball, but just slipped out of the hand wrong. And Capsey just couldn't get hold of it. And she's rather admonishing herself for that. She's got toe end of the bat. That did look quite high. It looked distinctly high. I wonder how important that could yet be. As Halliday's in again, a big swing and a miss. And Capsey's getting frustrated here by Halliday. This has been a good over. If I say good over, it's been it's an over of all sorts, but it's good for New Zealand. Only 3 have come from it, and that rate is just creeping up towards 8 and over. 41 needed from 31 balls.
It's that quiet over that they needed, isn't it? Here for New Zealand. A big ball, last ball of the over. A boundary here just relieves that pressure for England.
Just seeing the sunset on our monitors, beautifully red. Halliday in, and Capsey just works this into the onside, going back into a crease, and pushes it up towards long on. She'll keep strike at the end of the over as 48. 40 needed from 5 overs. Exciting. 8 and over required. Can New Zealand pull off a victory? Some more thoughts from Alex Hartley, and then it will be the distinctly unmoist but fragrant, terrific masseur technique as well. Artif Nawaz, don't stop, don't stop.
Well, I was just looking at those ladies in the flats. I often think that me and Kate Cross, the England bowler, second best bowler in the world, the best seamer in the world in ODI cricket, I often have pictures and images that will be me and her one day, just living in a flat somewhere, just the two of us, a couple of cats, maybe a dog.
She's
like more of a dog person.
You're describing it like a sitcom.
Yeah.
I think I'd watch that. Here's Kasparek in now, full, driven on the up, and sort of a half chance was that. And bowler's end for a caught and bowled. She ricochets it off towards mid-on. There's no run. It feels like that was another half chance. It's not a full-blooded chance, but a chance.
Yeah, I'm just going to look on the replay. Not sure if it was a bump ball or not. No, it was. It was a half chance. It was diving away to her right-hand side. It would have been an absolute screamer from Leah Kasparek.
Full stretch. She did well to get her fingertips to it, really, in her follow-through. Although she doesn't have a huge follow-through. She actually got a full palm onto it. Kasparek in once again to Jones, who works that ball out towards mid-wicket. They run the first one harder, thinking about a second, but he'll think better of it. Just one. Slightly neck and neck here. 38 needed off 28. You'd say England relatively comfortable, but not, not quite there yet. They'd like to hit a couple of boundaries just to settle the nerves. And will stop any nerves from building, rather. Kasparek in again. Capsey just pushes it out towards mid-wicket. Again, sprinting the first run and thinking about the second. But opts just for the one. And that applause you hear from the crowd here at Canterbury is for Alice Capsey's half-century. It's a 4th half-century in just a 32nd international T20. And I think she's shown a lot of maturity with her innings today, Alex, just the way she's approached it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think at times she's been frustrated, but she's stuck around. She's knocked the ball around against the good balls. I think she'll be waiting for the seamers to come back on here.
Kasparek in once again. Lots of flight on this, and it just keeps a little bit low. Beats the bottom edge of Jones's back, goes through to the keeper, no run.
I think that's what England, they'll be looking to rotate the strike against the spinners and wait for that one over of seam where they can really capitalise on the extra pace on the ball.
It's a runner ball 50 as well for Capsey, isn't it? You don't often see each of her 50s. They've been quite sort of belligerent affairs. Today she's shown a different side of her game. Really valuable for England. Kasparek into Jones, who advances down the track, turns the ball into a full toss really, and drives to long off for a single. And that equation shifts again. 35 needed now of 24 balls. Sorry, I beg your pardon. 36 needed of 25 balls. England still 7 wickets in hand. They'll still feel confident, but a chance for New Zealand just to sneak a few dot balls in, put a bit of pressure on. Kasparek in once again. It's full. It's been slapped down the ground by Alice Capsey. One bounce down to Georgia Plimmer at long off, and she gets behind it this time, and there is just a single taken. So 35 needed off 24. Well,
if you're New Zealand here, you're trying to get that run rate to 9s as soon as you can, and then to 10s. Really try and put the pressure on England. I think New Zealand in the middle here have been absolutely outstanding with just slowing things down a little bit. As you say, Capsey 50 off 50. It's unusual for her to go at a strike rate of 100. She's normally much quicker than that. But New Zealand have bowled well to her in phases of the game.
Yeah, but again, it's just the way she's played has made me think that there's been a little bit of an evolution, really, in the way that she plays her game. It's not just she's not a one-dimensional power hitter in the top order anymore, or a promising up-and-coming batter. She's the real deal now. She's part of that. Yeah, she's got substance.
Yeah, she has. She's been very leg side dominant today as well. She can get those shots up and over extra cover, really play 360. But she hasn't actually needed to get the little ramps out or anything of those sorts today. Just knocked the ball around, and this is a huge over here. Sophie Devine's been expensive. She's gone at 10s. The experience of Sophie Devine, but also the added pace.
This could work to England's advantage. Devine into Capsey. It's full and just a little bit wide, and it's been carved out towards deep backward point. They'll just jog through for a single. And while singles, at the moment, just push that net run rate, the required run rate, a little bit higher. 34 needed off 23.
Yeah, what Sophie Devine does so well is she's those slower balls, hides the ball outside the off stump, tries to get hit or cut into the deep.
It's Devine running into Amy Jones, who drives the ball back in her direction, right past her. This might go to the boundary, will it? No. Fielder at long off is able to run round and cut it off, and that's a really slick piece of fielding from Georgia Plimmer. It means just a single for England. Struck really sweetly, actually, but perhaps Devine should have done better in a follow-through. I don't know.
I think maybe half a chance there for a caught and bowled as well.
It's all happening. They've used 7 bowlers so far today, New Zealand. As in comes Devine again, as this ball's been cut in front of square. There's a misfield at extra cover, and they will come through for a single. I think that was Susie Bates. And, yeah, that equation now 32 needed off 21. If they can just keep it to 1s here, New Zealand, well, then it will be almost 10 and over required off the last 3.
Well, every time England don't get 8s, that run rate going up.
As Devine is in, this is full, been slotted up in the air and just short of the fielder running in from long on. There's Maddie Green down at long on, deep on the boundary sponge. She sort of jogged in, looking to anticipate. I feel like she... harsh in saying, Alex, she could have attacked it a little bit more.
I think maybe, but she is one of the better fielders in the world, is Maddie Green. She's got really safe hands, so if she would have felt like she could have got there, she would have put in the full-length dive.
It's a tough one to pull off as well. Under lights, dark skies now here in Canterbury. What a game we've got. It's Devine into Capsey, who chops this ball out towards the deep extra cover boundary. This might get to the boundary. Sliding effort in the deep is good from Halliday, so it'll just be 2 runs. It could very easily have been 4, but a terrific piece of fielding from Halliday in the deep. New Zealand have already got their fielding shoes on right now.
Yeah, boundary's hard to come by here for England. It's a good piece of timing from Alice Capsey, who slaps the ball past extra cover. Brooke Halliday slides the ball, times it to perfection, saves the boundary.
There's Devine into Capsey, who's looking for a ramp shot, misses the ball. And even though the keeper fumbles, they're unable to get through for any runs. So a very tidy over that from Sophie Devine. England, now the situation is a little bit precarious. 29 needed off 18. If England can't do that, that'll be New Zealand back in this series. Remember, if England win the game today, they take an unassailable 3-0 lead in the 5-match T20 series to go along with their 3-0 win in the One Day International Series. So this is desperate times for New Zealand.
Yeah, been 26 balls since the last boundary. Alice Capsey, Amy Jones struggling out there. Another huge over coming up. Amelia Kerr with her leg spin's going to bowl it. as Frankie Mackay just turns to me and says, "You're going to lose."
Well, she could be talking about anything, really. Maybe she's got a game of Jenga or something planned maybe later.
I've got a feeling, a sneaky feeling, this is a huge over, and she could be right if this isn't an expensive over for England. I think Frankie could be right.
It's Amelia Kerr bowling her final over. She's gone at a runner ball so far. 3 overs, none for 18. Been very impressive. Got the ball to bounce and turn and all sorts. As Amelia Kerr comes into it's been dropped at mid-off. It was Amy Jones who drove the ball straight up in the air at mid-off. It went straight to Sophie Devine, and she's put it down.
Yeah, she gets herself in such a tangle there, does Sophie Devine. Amy Jones trying to go up and over mid-off. It's a good option, trying to find that boundary. Sophie Devine gets herself in a pickle.
This time the ball's been hit high up in the air. It's going to clear long on, is it? Yes, it is. It's a big shot from Alice Capsey. It's a 6, and that will ease the tension in the England dugout. It's a huge shot, that. And now the equation changes again. 22 needed off 16 for England.
How many times in cricket do we see a drop catch, the next ball go for 6? I love the bravery from Alice Capsey. We've seen her knock the ball around for the last couple of overs. Now she's decided it's time to go.
Just so confident, the swagger of Alice Capsey. Amelia Kerr, what can she do? She's making Capsey wait. Capsey's down in her stance. Amelia Kerr just taking a second, using that towel just to dry the ball. A little bit of moisture in the air, maybe a bit of dew. As Amelia Kerr in, and Capsey comes down the track again and drives the ball on the bounce to mid-on, who doesn't catch, but this might be a run-out at the non-strikers end. It is. There's a run-out. Oh, goodness me, more drama. It's Amy Jones at the non-strikers end. I think they went for a single, but then they turned back, and Amy Jones couldn't make her ground in time. And, Sophie Devine recovers from not taking the catch to getting the throw-in, and New Zealand have managed to get another wicket. A 4th wicket falls for England now. Again, this match goes back in the balance. England still need 22, and now there's 15 balls remaining.
A little bit of yes-no maybe from Capsey and Amy Jones out there in the middle. Both of them ended up in the middle. Amy Jones turns back. She sacrifices herself, but a little bit of a misfield as well there for Sophie Devine, who the ball struck powerfully to her. She drops the ball, picks it back up off the floor, throws it straight to Amelia Kerr, does a little bit of handiwork at the stumps, and New Zealand, they get themselves back into this game.
Yeah, it's tight. Just taking a look at Frankie Mackay to see if those facial expressions give anything away. Nothing. She's a poker player. It's Frankie Mackay, but this game is tight. This game is all of a sudden right in the balance. 22 needed off 15 for England. But perhaps crucially, Alice Capsey still out in the middle. Her expression doesn't give anything away either. Long on is back. Mid-off inside the circle. Amelia Kerr pulls back a length. It's a short one. She saw Alice Capsey coming. She can just pull the ball out towards mid-wicket. It'll just be a single. 21 needed from 14. And new batter in, Freya Kemp.
Yeah, left-hander here. So left hand for Amelia Kerr and New Zealand to compete with. You feel like this is a big ball. Freya Kemp loves to hit the ball through the covers, so they've got to keep a deep cover out there.
We've just seen long off go back and long on go quite deep as well, but not...
Square leg is up in the ring.
Not all the way back is Sophie Devine. Now she's going to go all the way back to the boundary line. Amelia Kerr, quite meticulous with her field. She knows exactly what she wants. Getting her players in position. In comes Kerr now into Kemp. Bowls a short one. Kemp just squeezes it out towards the mid-wicket boundary. It might go all the way to the boundary before it does. What a shot from Freya Kemp. First ball in the game. She manages to find one of the rare gaps in the field over the mid-wicket region. That goes for 4 valuable runs for England, who move into the ascendancy again. 17 needed off 13.
Well, the twists and turns of this game have been exceptional, haven't they? Freya Kemp there looking to pull the ball into the onside, knowing that square leg is up inside the ring, has to adjust. The ball stays low, manages to still get the ball out the middle of the bat. And now square leg goes out, cover comes up, so you know, as a bowler, that Freya Kemp is going to look to hit you through the offside.
Yeah, it's sort of a free hit, because Capsey's at the non-strikers end right now. It's the final ball of the over. Kerr in, down the track. It's been driven right back to Amelia Kerr, and it's a dot ball. Good bit of fielding from Amelia Kerr in her follow-through. She finishes her work for the day. 4 overs, 0 for 30. Those figures certainly don't tell the story of how well she's bowled today. New Zealand still alive, only just though. 17 needed off 12.
It's an outstanding bit of fielding off her own bowling. Amelia Kerr diving to her right. They stick or they don't, and that has stuck in her hand like glue. It's a bump ball from Freya Kemp, but she saves 4.
Yeah, it looks so impressive in slow motion, doesn't it? Just full stretch, arm fully stretched, and legs sort of adjusted, bent into the position to reach. Just really, really impressive piece of work, as you say. Very impressive cricketer is Amelia Kerr, as is Alice Capsey, who will now be on strike for England. She's on 62 of 58 balls. 17 runs needed off 12 for England. If they win, the series is theirs. And the next 2 games become dead rubbers, where perhaps they can afford to experiment more. Perhaps they can take even more chances than they've done so today. They're playing a stand-in captain in Nat Siva-Brunt at the night, sitting out today's game. Sophia Dunkley coming in as well today, getting 35 off 26 a little bit earlier. Now then, Kasparek to bowl the penultimate over of the innings. In she comes to Capsey, who sweeps the ball beautifully out towards backward square leg. In the deep, it'll just be a single. That's not a bad result for New Zealand, although Freya Kemp has hit a 4. She's faced 2 balls. One of them was a dot, one of them was a 4. 16 needed off 11 for England. And everything has got a bit tense here in Canterbury. The crowd has just been hushed a little bit. A lot of young fans in as well today. I've seen a lot of kids running around on all the activation stands around the ground, enjoying the nets, the little batting and bowling thing. There's a bouncy castle somewhere. There's some ice cream trucks. There's a London bus themed. Well, there's like a restaurant type thing which is in the shape of a London bus. Oh yeah, big fan of that. Right, 16 needed off 11. Kasparek into Kemp. It's a flighted ball. Kemp has smashed this down the ground, and it's been dropped in the deep. But Maddie Green's managed to keep it in. It was a tough chance. It didn't go for 4. They've come back for 2. And honours even, really. A really good piece of fielding, I'm going to say, from Green. If she took the catch, it would have been the cherry on top. But she's prevented the boundary. And that's another 2 runs for England. 14 needed off 10.
Yeah, out the front of her hand there. Maddie Green just doesn't dive and just almost falls at the ball.
Here's Kasparek in once again. Down the track comes Amy Jones, and they get a thick outside edge. It trickles to short, fine leg. They think about the single. They don't take it. So that's a dot ball from Kasparek. 14 needed off 9. My goodness, what a game we've got. We've got a thriller in Canterbury tonight. All right, Kasparek. 3 balls to go. She's been very effective so far today. In she comes to Kemp, who's looking for a reverse sweep. Hits it beautifully. That's going to run away to the deep third boundary for 4. Outstanding shot that from Freya Kemp. Perfect connection on the reverse sweep, and it runs away for 4. And again, that equation comes into hand for England. 10 runs needed off 8.
Outstanding. Outstanding from Freya Kemp. Gets into position earlier. Almost hockey. Swivels it around the corner. Takes the pressure off England, because that equation now 10 off 8 balls. England now in control of this game. All you have to do, knock the ball into that leg side. There's 2 on offer into the leg side here for Freya Kemp.
Kasparek takes her time, and now she runs in and she bowls. Down the track comes Kemp, and this is going to be another boundary. What a shot from Freya Kemp. What a cameo this has been. She's pulled her team back into the ascendancy here. England, firm favourites, 6 runs needed off 7. What a cameo this is.
This is brilliant from Freya Kemp, and this is why she's in the England side. She could be one of the best all-rounders in the world. She is the next Nat Siva-Brunt. To come out and hit the ball as she has, she's felt no pressure. If she has felt the pressure, she hasn't shown it. She looks calm and collected out there.
There's Kasparek into Kemp again, who once more comes down the track, plays the ball up in the air towards extra cover, who makes a diving stop. And well, they do get through for a single, so she'll keep the strike for the final over. It has come down to the final over. 5 runs needed off 6. Well, we just heard Dua Lipa's Houdini come out on the PA system around the ground. And that's what New Zealand are going to need to do if they win this game now. They need to pull a Houdini. 5 runs needed off 6 for England. 2 set batters, and still plenty to come. Well, final over is going to be a big one.
Yeah, it's the drop catches for New Zealand in the back half of this game. We've said that their fielding hasn't been the best throughout this tournament, and there's been 3 or 4 drop catches. The one from Sophie Devine, Georgia Plimmer, Leah Kasprick and a follow through. Maddie Green, that's 4 off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's if they lose this game, that's effectively what it's going to come down to. That's what's been costly. Now then, Sophie Devine, the captain of New Zealand, is going to take the responsibility of bowling the final over of this game herself. The task in front of her is if I can borrow one of your words, a humongous one. 5 runs to defend off 6 balls. It would be the heist of the century if they pulled it off here. Freya Kemp on 15 off 7.
Yeah, but Freya Kemp will just come down the wicket and bop her over her head for 4, you imagine.
That's what she'll be aiming for sure. Long off his back. As Devine runs in, she bowls. Kemp's had a big swing, thick outside edge, trickles into the point region. They run through for a quick single, and they make it. And they make it. It was a shy at the non-striker's end, but Kemp was comfortably home, and as are almost England. 4 runs needed off 5 balls. It's been a thrilling game of cricket. There have been errors from New Zealand that might cost them here. They'll reflect on those errors, but they're still in this game. They've still got a chance. 4 off 5. You got a batter on strike, though, who's got 63 off 59. Alex Capsey has been outstanding today.
Yeah, she has. She's weathered the storm really nicely for England. I think she'll be disappointed with her knock because she's used to having a better strike rate, but we can see here Sophie Devine, Susie Bates having an in-depth chat about what to bowl to Alice Capsey. Can they get a mid-wicket? Can they try and save the singles? They've got to try and get a mid-wicket in here for me. Stop that easy single into the leg side. It makes no sense. They have to have a mid-wicket.
I can see Georgia Plimmer just in front of us. She's standing at long on, and she's going to walk into a position, but for now she's standing the wrong side of the boundary sponge. That's how deep she wants to be on that boundary sponge.
There you go.
There we go. You got your wish. You got a mid-wicket in place. It's Brooke Halliday who's gone into that position. And Sophie Devine runs into bowl to Alice Capsey. This is full. It's been hit up in the air and over the fielder at short third. It might trickle all the way to the boundary. This might be it. And it is it. A bit of misfielding from Fran Jonas. And England are over the line with 4 balls to spare. New Zealand have made so many errors today. It's fitting that England's winning runs come off a misfield in the deep. England are victorious here at Canterbury by 6 wickets. They take an unassailable 3-0 lead in the T20 series to go along with their 3-0 win in the one-day international innings. England have been good. New Zealand, not so much today, Alex.
Yeah, New Zealand, Port, they were good with the bat. Well, the 3 big guns for New Zealand were good with the bat. Nobody else got into double figures for New Zealand. It just shows if they could have had another partnership, somebody else contribute, they would have got that 150, 160, 170. That looks like it would have been too much for England tonight. Alice Capsey finishes not out, an exceptional knock for her, coming in at 3. A little bit of pressure as well. But New Zealand poor in the field, so many drop catches, and I think that misfield pretty much sums up their tour of New Zealand.
Yeah, you've called it, Alex. I mean, there were just so many little issues that went wrong for them. I mean, Fran Jonas, she was having a good game as well. She was on a hat-trick at one point, and just to finish on that misfield, this is going to be bitterly disappointing because ultimately that's what's cost them the series.
Yeah, the fielding today has cost them the series. It's cost them the game. There's 4 drop catches in the last 4 or 5 overs, and you can't be doing that. We know cricket is all about those 1%ers. We know that cricket is all about taking chances, trying to change the game. And New Zealand today, as I say, that misfield just sums up their tour of the UK.
It's not been something to reflect on really in a positive way. Frankie Mackay back alongside New Zealand international. I mean, they had the game multiple times. They were in control. They really wrestled that control back because there was a point in the game, power play, 50 for 1. England have got this. And they worked hard and they got themselves and they fought and they clawed back into the game. Just that sequence of errors so costly.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. That's really going to sting this group. It means the series is gone. There's no chance to get yourself back into it. When the dust settles a little bit, they'll be able to sit down and pick out some positives because there were. This has been a much improved performance from what we've seen the rest of the tour so far, but that'll really smart. And sometimes these ones, they actually hurt more than the ones where you just get blown off the park.
Yeah.
You know, you turn up and you're not even in the contest and you kind of sit in the dressing room afterwards and you think, what just happened there? Okay, move on. It's quite easy to move on from because everyone just played badly and we'll do it again in 3 days' time. Whereas this one will really hurt. You had your cameo from Sophie Devine. You had Suzie Bates, Millie Kerr contributing. The spinners finally bowled well in tandem. You got a wicket the first ball of the innings. Everything kind of felt as though it was lining up. And then it's just your basics that let you down. The little misfields, the dropped catches. And then England good enough to capitalise. Dropped catch, and then on the back of that, the next ball goes for 6. And it's just those little fine margins that when you're playing international cricket, you've got to be able to take them. You've got to be able to take those little moments. England do it so well. New Zealand haven't learnt how to win yet. I think that's the big thing. They haven't had the experience winning to actually know how to win, and it shows when these games get close.
I also think hats off to Freya Kemp as well, because coming in, hitting her first ball for 4, then she hits another one down the ground and another one, and she takes the pressure off England. Doesn't matter about those drop catches. She knows exactly her role and what she needs to do. She gets out first ball, not a problem. She's there to hit the ball for 4, and she did exactly that today, and it came off.
And for England, it'll be a huge reassurance, that performance, you imagine, from Freya Kemp, because, as we alluded to, it's a shorter top order for England today. No Heather Knight in the mix, which always, she's got a great sort of stabilising influence on the team.
Well, this is really interesting.
Oh, that's interesting.
Sorry to interrupt you, but New Zealand are just having a little circle of truth right down below us. I feel like now is not the time to reflect on a game of cricket.
Well, immediately afterwards.
I hate a hot review. I think they're really dangerous as a team, but they're having one right now, and it looks like they're having a little bit of a rollicking.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't look. Well, there's a lot of gestures and aggressive chat going on. We won't speculate anyway, but yeah, New Zealand obviously very, very disappointed. But let's just get a little bit of focus on the England players who've performed really well today. Sophie Ecclestone just doing Sophie Ecclestone things, 4 overs, 4 for 25. We talked about Lauren Filer taking her opportunity as well. Sophia Dunkley, I thought, was impressive as well. She could have done more with her start, absolutely, as Frankie was saying. But, I think she'll be very pleased with that. But Alice Capsey is for me, really the player of the match. Just organised that chase. We saw Sophie Devine play a similar innings where she couldn't find any fluency for a while, but she, stayed the course, got to the death end of the innings and executed the big shots when she needed to. Alice Capsey, I feel like she's shown a different string to her bow today, Alex.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's not been that crash bang wallop that we've seen, and she does it with control, don't get me wrong, she's so good at that. But actually, she's gone at a runner ball, got 50 off 50. We haven't seen her do that. I don't think I've ever seen her do that. She's normally getting 50 off 25, 30, 35 balls. Today was a completely different innings for her, but I liked the fact that she showed that maturity.
She did. I can also, just to update you on the circle of truth, it has now been broken up, so everybody's gone off and done something else.
For a cry.
Well, I don't know. We have no idea what they were talking about. Maybe it was like you did really well, don't take it to heart thing.
To be fair, I think there was a little bit of that. That's probably the most words in a row I've ever seen Ben Sawyer say. So the fact that he's got something about him might be a positive. But just noting on the people in the group that were nodding, it was definitely your support staff, a couple of the coaches, manager who was nodding along, and your senior players were giving it the nod as well. So I don't think from that it's a bollocking, because generally that's everyone standing there looking at the ground, not acknowledging it. I think there will be some positives to take from it, but that's a really tough one to take. And the fact that getting on the bus straight after this game, it'll be pack up your kit bags, get on the bus, get to London. Hopefully there's no more reviewing, no more talking about it tonight. Get there, go over it tomorrow. They have already this tour had the pleasure of, after one of the losses, having to sit through every ball of the game. So they watched the entire game to review it. So hopefully there won't be another one of those on the cards for New Zealand. It'll be a nice, short, sharp one. Get into it at the Oval, crack on, a little bit of time after that to put your feet up, re-energise yourself, to get the chance to play at Lords, which, regardless of the series being won, lost, in the balance or not, the chance to play at Lords, I think every cricketer in the world would take it. So still plenty to play for New Zealand. Lots of positives to come out of tonight, but there'll also be a little bit of heartbreak thrown in there as well, because that's a really tough one to take.
It is. Well, England, on the other hand, will be celebrating. I can see some of the players walking around the ground, saying hello to some of the fans. I've seen Charlie Dean just walk over to some of the fans there. She still hasn't taken her pads off. She didn't even have a bat.
That's what this England team do so well. Win or lose, they always stay and sign autographs for the young girls and boys in the crowd.
Yeah, it's great that they do that. A lot of the fans have stuck around. There's a fan waving at me, actually. Probably mistaking me for, I don't know, Aggers or something. It's been a wonderful turnout here today. 4,000 people. people here at Canterbury, and they've enjoyed what at times has been a very, very close game. The headline, though, is that England have won by 6 wickets and taken an unassailable 3-0 lead in this 5-match series.